have no repeatable reference markers along the object. You are trying to force us to have a visual exam of something you say, like the entire, whatever this is built upon a structure which you completely ignore, because as Ben is saying in the chat, let me scroll up and find it, he's saying that this is not what the photo is supposed to show, the things that I'm mentioning. And he's right. I am mentioning everything that's scientific that would provide your photo any type of legitimacy. But if you're supposed to show left to right curvature, which is not even claimed by your model, then you're only here to create a spectacle around something that's nonsensical and is never actually claimed by the consensus. So you're like a con artist. It's a perfect con that you're doing here, and a lot of people are just falling for it because they just sit around and talk about it. You know,
it's weird though. I mean, you made an assertion that I'm a con artist, yet you can't explain how. Go ahead.
I just did. The table does not even rest on a level. I just did. I just invalidated everything here being unscientific. Okay. So you just making a tunnel vision myopic lens, zooming in to pixels, attempting to establish left and right curvature, which is your insinuated position. What do we call that exactly? It's a silent assumption that you attempt to smuggle in through forcing the public here, the audience, to look at your left to right alleged curvature, which is like a conflation of an image. You know, that's what you're doing. That's your silent hidden claim. And you know, there's no real. Again, I'm going to state it one more time. There isn't a model or a curvature model that predicts that you should see a dramatic left to right drop in the horizontal. So when you one day understand that you need all the things that I said, again, you need a measurement grid. You need known leveling instrument visible in the photo, not the post-production line that you force fit to say that this works as a leveling unit. You know, you need a known leveling instrument visible in situ, which means that it comes in the photo. You need to provide verified camera calibration. You need to provide stated focal length, sensor size, and distortion profile. And you need repeatable reference markers along the object. And you need not a roughly centered camera. It needs to be centered. And the object that is used as a reference here, it needs to be actually perpendicular to the camera, if that's the right word for it. It cannot be on a table, on a dog poop, slightly rotated in every axis, with stacked rocks here and there to make you fucking, like, what the fuck, dude? This is so absurd. It's nonsensical. It's dumb. You know, Freudian slip. Thank you. No, we can move on.
This photo is quite triggering.
New topic. No,
it's funny. I've been here since Jeremy went to sleep, right? And he woke up, and we're still getting over you.
You know it's triggering, so that's why you do it. Now you have exposed your intellectual dishonesty. You know it's triggering.
If you would be honest, then you would be talking about the great circle. Your eyes
that's why you're here and doing it.
Your circular view surrounding you. Because when you go higher up, that circle gets bigger. Your great circle. That is the arc length you guys are abusing for Earth's curvature. But it's a curvature on the flat plane going towards you. It's going around you. So you can keep on circling with all your pictures, but all you're doing is just taking a picture of the horizon, which is a great circle surrounding you. And that doesn't make a ball, because when it was a ball and you would go higher up, you wouldn't have more view.
All I care about is right here. This like little bit right here. Like, why
all
is
you care about
I don't even care about
this tunnel vision. Yes.
Let's put X.
Yes, you don't care.
Why is there blue there?
This intellectual dishonesty. You're just proving that you're intellectually dishonest because all you care about is creating this thing that you know is upsetting and frustrating because it's not scientifically fucking done at all, dude. And that's why it's frustrating and upsetting, because you are coming here claiming to be a representative of how to conduct a scientific experiment, and then you're just fucking, No, but that's how you're acting like. You don't need to say that.
I presented it as a photograph.
Acting like that. You are presenting
I even dropped the source. Anyone to listen to what Zynek said. Go into the top right corner where it says search as a little reticule or a little magnifying glass. Type in from a specific user, type in IC Spen, look at everything that I posted tonight and tell me that I have literally the source and literally the photographs that I'm presenting right here, and then I just opened it up.
I'm going to ask you a question then.
You have that perpendicular camera.
Please, 1 second, Crystal.
Yeah, you go.
IC Spin, what is the purpose of coming here with these images and whatever you're sourcing or citing here? What is the purpose of all this?
I'm seeking an explanation. I told you that from the get-go.
But why are you then, if that so is true that you're seeking an explanation, why are you always shifting and moving and eeling around, discrediting every explanation, proving that you have a biased answer already, which you think is conclusive?
Like literally all I've done is show my evidence. I've literally shown my evidence.
This is not evidence.
Okay, evidence of what?
Evidence of what? Okay, evidence of what?
This blue hump is above the yellow line. Why?
Okay. Because the photo is fucking retarded. It's distorted.
And that's the answer that I was expecting. So, there you go.
So if you expected that answer and you knew it prior to coming here and holding it,
I was expecting it
for like 4 hours, and likely you've done it all earlier as well. Why do you keep doing it?
Well, because it's intellectual dishonesty.
What you're doing, yeah. It's
Okay,
intellectual.
What you're doing is, can I ask a question?
You're right.
When you give me that answer,
Intellectual
yeah, I'll let you ask
dishonesty,
the
you're doing, yeah.
When you give me that answer, it highlights your hypocrisy. It's
No,
not.
No, it's not. It doesn't.
Can I
What's
ask a question,
highlighting
though?
hypocrisy? Yes, you can. If I may say this before, what's highlighted here is your hypocrisy, Icy Spin, saying that everything that would go into actually establishing one or the other here, like what you're putting into the view here, myopically zooming into at a scale, you know, the blue, whatever that is, you are the one who is the hypocrite here. You're ignoring everything. You're ignoring just the entire makeup. You're ignoring the entire makeup upon which this forced.
This is completely irrelevant.
Speaking. If you're not going to hear it, no, we've not been over this. No, yes, exactly, and that's the point. You claim it being irrelevant. That just shows your ignorance. That's your ignorance.
For the new audience, why don't you tell them what you said earlier?
Why is let Rocky? You guys, can you let Rocky get in because he's familiar with this?
Are y'all talking about the picture that shows the horizon over the ocean with the board, the green table? That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, they compressed it. Yeah.
Rocky, click on my live view. I'm showing it right now.
To be fair, I've just seen it. But if you could answer a couple of quick questions, I'll be out of here. You know, like I don't discuss this any further because we've discussed it. You know, at nauseam.
I'll post the photo of kind of what I'm showing right now, so you can kind of.
Yeah, the green table. Go ahead. The green table.
Yeah, the green table. Yeah. Yep.
When you compress that, does the green table? Would you expect it to be? Well, let's start off with the horizon. You expect the horizon on a globe to be curved or flat?
Curved.
What about on a flat Earth? Would you expect the horizon to be curved or flat?
At eye level, flat.
Okay, no, at the level where you're looking out onto the horizon, and you're saying the horizontal line is not the same as the water.
Flat.
Okay, what about the table? Would you expect the table to be?
It's not part of the observation.
Yeah, yes, it is. When you compress it, the table appears to curve as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does.
Well, why would you expect it to do that?
I don't expect it to curve or not curve. It's irrelevant.
But why would it curve? Like, let's just assume that the table is
a curved table. It's not as known straight edge. Nobody controlled for that.
So you think the table is curved?
Yeah, it's obvious that it's curved. In fact, I drew a line across it, and I'll do it again to show you that it's curved.
Okay, but you would agree that the compression makes the apparent table that you say you have no. I mean, do you have proof that it's curved before you compress it? Because the argument would be from my standpoint.
Okay, do it when it's not compressed, but it's accentuated by the compression, of course. You can see that, like right in here, you can see the water in the background, right? Like I know you're not looking, but for the audience and for
to be fair, I've looked at this for 10 years and we've gone over it and we've heard all the explanations.
I'm not going to give you a dishonest answer. You can keep asking this.
No, I agree, and I'm not either. But I'm going to give you my answer, and you can try and dispute it or what. So when we look into how lenses work or how observations work over long distance, how a horizontal line can be compressed and distorted, especially over distance, and appear to curve. That's where we get that the angle. Everything matters, right? If you do this at a different time of day, I would suspect that the distortion would be different. But taking all that out, a horizontal line can be distorted, and when you compress it, it's gonna, make it just look, distorted beyond belief. Even beyond, like, if the Earth was curved, or the table was slight, like a 2 or 3 foot table that was slightly curved, which you have to be honest is not a good argument. When you compress it to be that curved, you would have to come to some conclusion that it's more of a distortion than it would be a curved table that's compressed. But anyway, y'all go on. You can believe what you believe. You're right. But it does seem a little.
My rebuttal.
Sure.
While you were talking, I drew three. Well, there's already one, right? But I drew 3 straight lines across known straight edges, and guess what? Those known straight edges remain straight, so no distortion. You have any other theories?
So you're saying the straight edges that are straight remain straight, but the table that you don't know is curved. I'll just back out now. I haven't opened my mic very much. When you've talked over me every time, but I get what you're saying. I just think it's distortion. We've seen straight lines distorted before, especially over distance. But you might want to look into that. But it sounds like you have. You've made your conclusion, and that's fair. Good luck.
I made my conclusion based on my evidence. Yeah,
is a visual comparison alone a valid geometric test?
I just asked for the explanation of why there's a blue hump in the background.
So you don't understand the question?
Who's the visual inspection police officer? Like, what are you talking about?
Don't change my words.
Okay, say it again.
Does visual comparison alone, is visual comparison alone a valid geometrical test or test of geometry?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You don't know. You don't think
probably
so?
Make measurements.
Okay.
Well, you should probably do measurements like I've done.
So, but there's no stated measurements in this photo.
Yeah, I've stated that I've measured all of this and I've squeezed it and I've drawn lines that you hate. Yeah, all this jazz that we've been through for 3.5 hours. Those are measurements.
So no, they're not. They are software. You're using. You're going into software and drawing a line in the fucking Autodesk or.
So you can't make measurements in software. Well, if you can't make measurements in software, then yeah, you're right. Go ahead.
So if you're going to get any actual measurement that has referential integrity, you need to go in situ, not ex situ. Do you understand the difference between in situ? Do you know the difference between in situ and ex situ?
Do you mean like for instance, if I zoom in right here, right? I zoom into this.
No,
I can do 1, 2,
what is
3,
in situ?
4 pixels, right? This is a measurement. Pixels are a measurement.
Ex situ.
It's a valid measurement, right? Then I can go. Well, yeah, and then I can go over here to the very edge of the photographic and I say, oh, you know what? I might have missed 1.5 pixels right there, just being generous. All right, but there's still 2.5 pixels on a camera board. And then over here, oh, you know what? There's 0 pixels. There's just 0.
I'll say it very cleanly to you. I'll say it very cleanly to you. This is your philosophy of indirect realism through a mental representation.
It's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. You'll learn them one day, hopefully. Study them. I'll say it one more time. This is your indirect philosophy of indirect realism that you claim reality is known through mental representation or just representation.
Yeah.
And that we don't need to go in situ to know anything. We can just know the world through ex situ.
But you're not a flat earther. Why are you fighting
I'm not a flat earther. I am not.
Yeah, why are you fighting this?
The point is that I'm not a flat earther.
You know what I'm showing, right? You know what
I know what you're trying to do, but I'm not a flat earther.
What am I trying to do?
You're trying. Just what I said. You're trying to force an ex situ indirect realism philosophy as being
I even went up 2 pixels on either side. There's still a lot of blue.
You're saying you're attempting to make an indirect realism ex situ sort of like a myopic lens retort, being an epistemic claim of ontology.
Can I ask? Can I ask
anyone else in this room who's able to say that to you? Nobody.
Gio, can I ask you a question, Gio? I don't need you to go. I know it's on the record, right? But like, do you think that I'm being dishonest with the way that I'm presenting this? Just yes or no. Like, Gio, am I presenting this honestly?
You can't even name what you are presenting.
A photograph.
You are creating a spectacle. So it's dishonest. I can speak like this. I can be intellectually dishonest with you.
Yeah, your opinion is valid.
Just because I can make smug and make indirect commentary of mental handicaps to people doesn't mean that I'm intellectually honest.
I haven't made any such claims. And you should actually retract that.
It's not a claim when you assert it.
I've made
not a claim when it's just an assertion. Yeah, I'm listening. Nothing. Yeah. That's all that I do.
Right. Well, you weren't listening good when you thought you heard me say that. Okay. I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't say that.
Okay.
I don't know. Are you still there, Gio? Like, I'm just asking if I mean, I'd like to know. I feel like, Gio, I feel like you have a pretty good scope about maybe how I go about things, and I don't think that I've been. I do think that it's a hard question to answer. And I think that I've done nothing but present it. I think Terry, if he's still here, I think Terry would have.
I'm still in the background.
I know that you're on my side, Terry, but will you? I mean, would you stand up for me and say that I've done nothing but try to present this honestly, or what?
Well, you like everybody else that does things what you're doing by presenting something and then analyzing it. People ask questions, we give answers, we keep the conversation going. We're not getting any insults or ad homs or anything in the conversation, and it flows. It all comes down to me that it's content for this channel. We unless we want to sit here for the next 2 hours and just be dead air and not talk with all the people who are in here.
I'm fairly certain that this channel is not dedicated to just information flood with content. So when you come here with content,
I don't like the way that you're trying to besmirch my character, though, Zynak. Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now? I do think that's okay. So and you're trying to besmirch my character for.
Do you understand the same when you call me a flat earther? When I've said for over 2 years,
I never said you were a flat earther. I said you
just did.
I said you weren't. I said you weren't a flat earther. I said why are you analyzing it this way when you're not even a flat earther? It's literally what I said, bro. I did not call you a flat earther.
I'll rewind the live stream a little later, but I'll allow that now just for the sake of moving on.
Yeah, you didn't
for the sake of moving on, I'll allow that. I could have misheard. Sure is a possibility.
Just like you misheard me saying whatever I said about Crizzle, I'm going to tell you right now, you should rewind further and you'll hear that you're wrong about that too. And that's fine.
I certainly will. And what if I'm not wrong and I find out that I was right? What then? What if I do that?
If you find out,
should I do then? Should I post it online?
I'll tell you what. I'll never come to the channel again if you find out that you were right. How's that? Fair?
Okay.
And I'll shake your hand and I'll say you're a better man than I. Okay, but go ahead.
Has nothing to do with me being better than you. It has to do with
it does, because if I'm willing to put my namesake on the fact that I didn't say something that I fucking told you I didn't, then I didn't say it, okay? And you can go back and you can find it.
Then let's directly look at what you're doing here, because this is creating a lot of spectacle, and you know that it does that. And
you're asserting that I made a. You're asserting that I made a. No, of course I'm going to cut you off because you're asserting that I said Crizzle had some sort of mental handicap. This is fucking stupid. I would never say that about anyone.
Oh, you're red herring.
Not her, not anyone in this community.
Oh, you're red herring. What I'm going to say by being overly focused upon something that I just said.
You find it. You find it, and I will never come back to this channel. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I will do that later. I'll look it through and see it one more time. You know, I'll give you the possibility that I misheard you. Anyhow, let's move on. I said for the second time now. Thank you. So now, what's the point of coming with your spectacle piece? if not for the sake of content creation of your own entertainment?
Explanation.
Are you now?
That.
What explanation exactly? What explanation?
I'd like to know why.
The bulging blue thing in the background there. You know that your own model doesn't claim left to right curvature?
That's what Jeremy said. Yeah.
Yes, that's what he said, and I'm saying the same thing. Do you know that your own model does not claim left to right curvature?
Well, you don't understand how our model functions.
Has nothing to do with me understanding it when your model doesn't fucking put that forth. It doesn't claim that. It doesn't own that claim.
Okay. That needs a citation because my assertion is that it absolutely does, and I can show you evidence.
Yeah, that needs a citation as well. So the given that you build everything upon here, which is your hidden philosophy, that needs a citation. That needs a citation.
What philosophy am I putting forth besides presenting a photograph?
So you sure can just reduce it to just presentation of a photograph. But what's the point of pointing to the bulge there? Is it left to right curvature claim? That's not promoted by the model. Yeah. So we found your hidden philosophy. So now we found your reification. Yeah.
There's no reification.
Now we found your belief system. Now your belief system is exposed. Now you're intellectually dishonest.
I want you to explain.
You're intellectually dishonest because you're not attempting to understand it. You're attempting to force your worldview.
Let's hear how smart you are. Go ahead and tell me how it's reification. Go ahead.
Because you are building everything upon a belief system. It's a model. It's a mathematical model. It's called EGS. I certainly do.
Then go ahead and explain it. Don't say anything else. Explain what is the reification fallacy.
Treating something that does not exist as having existence, and sort of like forgetting that too. If I'm just going to say it just straight up front without looking up any definition. Treating something unreal as real.
Do you want to hear the actual definition? Pretend that you still know it. When an abstract concept, model, or hypothetical construct is treated as concrete, tangible, or a living entity.
Exactly. That's what I said. Something unreal is real. That's the Occam racer. That's a better definition than the explanation definition that you just provided. That was more lengthy and wordy and poetic, although.
It was beautiful, right? Go ahead and explain how the fuck it applies right now.
Because you do not have God's eye view to verify or establish the geometry of what you claim the Earth has.
So unless I'm God, I'm committing a reification fallacy by presenting a photograph.
In this instance of considering what we're actually talking about, what's in question, since it has to do with universal shape of the ground, then yes, in this instance, you are certainly committing a fallacy where you don't have God's eye view of the thing in question, which sort of you need. Meaning you need to see the object in its totality. Like you looking at a teddy bear in your bedroom, like you have one, I don't know, but let's not presuppose it, but just,
imagine I have a teddy bear.
For the sake of the thought experiment, you ripping off its head and standing on the inside of it and just looking everywhere doesn't make you see the teddy bear.
And that's the reification fallacy, right?
Seeing the teddy bear is a God's eye view. Standing inside polyester and thinking that looking at the polyester, understand the surface of the teddy bear's color being brown, that's a reification fallacy.
Okay, let me read it again. Occurs when an abstract concept. What's an abstract concept?
Globe model.
Model was the next word. So again, we're talking about hypothetical. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, the model, the globe, right? The globe here.
Or
question, the globe.
Or flat construct is treated as a concrete, tangible, or living entity.
Right.
So how does that apply? Wait. Well, let's go back to the teddy bear example. You said I ripped the head off.
Now I'm giving you deep philosophical teachings. I should actually be taking about maybe 10 upward to $100,000 per hour for teaching you this.
I don't care to learn any of it, so you can keep all your money. Go ahead.
Okay, then I'll just mute up and I'll shut the fuck up.
Thank you. We can talk later, though. This is a good talk. Does anyone else have anything constructive to, dare I say, add to Zynek's constructive remarks about why this blue bulge appears in this area? Well, great. It's 7:30 in the morning Eastern time. I'm going to start my workday. I've enjoyed it. Everyone's been a pleasure. Zynek, even you, we get heated at times, but you're a good dude. It's fine. Go back and watch what I mentioned to you, please, so that you know that you were wrong. But yeah.
Was I now?
Terry? Yeah, you are.
Sure. Thank you for your attempt of saving your public image. Go along now. Have fun at work. See you later.
Yep. Have a good night, man. Terry, appreciate your help tonight and everyone else that was here.
Yeah. And thanks for denying the great circle that surrounds us. The whole bottle is built off.
All right,
go to bed.
Yeah,
please go to bed. You're an idiot.
All right. Well, look, good contribution.
Yeah, good contribution today with your 5-year-old McToon garbage.
All right, go get a
go get some rest because you were browsing McToon website all night looking at stuff that's 7 years old and debunked already.
Okay. All right, I'll do the best.
Great contribution, Icy Spin.
I'm gonna leave at the same time, and you guys can talk about something completely else. But there should be some kind of.
Wait, no, please.
If I may comment upon what he has done now. When a person comes in with a spectacle hit piece that they are forcing you to talk about, it would be important to start to sort of get some kind of like checkboard or so to establish whether or not they're coming here just to slander or whatever they are. Because usually when they do this, they're actually just here to attempt make entertainment value out of making everyone look mentally handicapped. And they can even go on to deny things.
hang on. He's not here. Instead of talking behind his back, yeah, man.
I'm not. This is
No,
recorded.
you're speaking behind his back. Okay, he's not here.
I'm not.
talking
I've
about.
spoken this directly to him as well.
Isn't like you are. How about when he's here, bring it up with him, not just behind him.
I did. I just did.
Stand.
This reflection has already been presented to him.
Talking about icy spin. Fuck off.
I know what who's talking about. Come on, man. I know who's
Hey,
talking about.
Mr. Equation on the bottom, who just now says all this stuff to interrupt what I'm saying, which would be a prominent for the room here to establish and orient towards. That's the whole point. We got to create something that manages to check off, like in a list, if the person who comes in and holds the room hostage to some kind of presentation, if this is truly actually intellectually
honest. Did he hold the room hostage to his presentation? You didn't have to watch it. No one was forced to. Last time I checked, I didn't have to. I was busy. I just go muted myself and just disappeared. Did my work. Did he hold anyone to hostage? I don't remember being held hostage.
Are really good at doing things that you shouldn't. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the contribution. Honestly.
So just coming in and speaking.
What have you ever done around here, Hammer? What did you?
I've done plenty. I don't have to explain myself to you.
We don't know.
It's an act. When did he hold anyone to hostage?
I want to get out of the car now because I'm back at the butchery and I need to continue working. So quickly, what do you want to know? Is it Hammer?
Yes, Hammer.
Yeah. So what is it?
I don't know. You say it was holding people to hostage. Just want to see how.
Yeah. What accent? Where are you from?
Alec, 1 second. Alec, 1 second, please. You can talk with him. I'm about to leave. Okay. What is it, Hammer? What do you want to know?
Nothing. He said he was holding people to hostage and was presenting some BS. I want to know when he was holding anyone to hostage.
Okay. By the very fact that you keep speaking upon a point and you ask questions, and you give up
the answer. I'm not getting the answer.
Yeah. You can play on that act as a genuine inquiry. Yeah. Now you're attempting to say that what he did is what I did, when in fact I did not. When he comes in and presents something, and attempt to hold everyone in the room, sort of like in an inquiry about something that's truly at base and foundation absurd, he is holding the room hostage to his desires of inquiring something about and that which is under purview or under the scope, which is what he's presenting.
Here's the thing, though. That's your opinion. You just now repeating your opinion.
Oh, fucking hell!
I didn't. That's the thing. I didn't. Last I checked,
it wasn't holding anyone
hostage. It is your opinion.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion of me. That's you having an opinion, entitling me with an opinion, when I'm just explaining to you specifically how someone can do that in an environment. Because for a fact, I'm a social scientist, a theater and pedagogue. I'm a drama pedagogue. I'm a theater professional. I apply theater. I apply theater and understand how you hold a room communicatively hostage to a drama of your own making. I am perfectly well capable of examining when that is being done. But you saying that it's just my opinion. Okay, well, I'm not talking my opinion. I'm explaining how that can be done.
Still your opinion. And can I, you know what, it's funny, you said that, you got all these things, you're all these things. I use a fallacy, can I say that's a fallacy?
You can even report back to me what I told you that I have.
Link to the credentials is a fallacy, is it not?
Yeah, I have a LinkedIn profile that I think I shared my LinkedIn profile earlier on this webpage. I have not gone around hidden myself. My name is Martin Andreas Åsen-Wikesland. That's my real name. I'm not hiding myself. You can go look up myself. You can see that I do for a fact have a drama pedagogical education. You can see that I worked in kindergartens and in schools.
Did I say you
can see that I'm an educated social scientist. Yes, you can find all that stuff. No problem.
Did I say again you don't have any of those? Did I say make any claim? I said
that's your opinion now again, right? So that's your opinion.
Okay.
Okay, so your opinion is noted.
And fine. When did I say you don't have these credentials? You do have the. I'm not making such a
claim. I never said that you said that. That's you attempting to make some fucking gay drama dance that you didn't do. I didn't say you said that.
You gotta hold up, you guys. This is going into like an interpersonal kind of. See, the thing about the personal stuff is that like it's never completed because somebody always wants to defend themselves or defend their character or whatever or clarify or someone wants to do an accusation and it just loops and loops and loops and then we're not really getting anything like interesting, intellectual, making progress. Now I know sometimes maybe a little bit of that has to happen if there's a little bit of like processing of what's happening, maybe So, but I'm just saying. It tends to loop, and it can just go on for hours and hours, and we're not really moving forward. I think all Psyop was saying, it was maybe a turn of phrase when he was saying that IC Spin. I mean, IC Spin was doing that for hours and hours and hours. So, I mean, last night, this morning, I guess all through the night as well. I don't know if it stopped at all or if it was last night and this morning. But anyways, he just is what it is. I mean, I think Psyop was just saying that as a turn of phrase that he kind of was presenting it, and then I thought even though explanations were being given, he kind of just saying, "Hey, do you guys have explanations?" I thought it was funny what Alex said, which is that like it is kind of like a 5, 6, 7-year-old argument that has been like thoroughly washed over. That's why when Rakia came in, he was like, "Oh my, this is like," and it just seemed like IC Spin just kind of kept like repeating the parts of it. But I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we do allow people to present information, and that is an argument, and that is a photo and information that has been discussed thoroughly in the past on many live streams. I'm sure on here a few times, but on other places too. So,
thank you, Gio. You have gained my respect back.
For the sake of argument,
thank you.
For the sake of argument, Gio, I will back down on this one. I hope you see where I'm coming from. It's a bit silly when when you hear this sort of things, and especially Xanax does this quite a bit. When someone presents an argument, he goes into this philosophical conversation, it just gets really nowhere. That's my point. But you know what? For the sake of the argument, I'll just back down.
Yeah. But did you hear how we skipped over the Great Circle, the one thing we should be talking about?
Yeah, I agree. I heard Crizzle mentioning it. I mentioned it multiple times, and it was just. I mean, he's not here, so we shouldn't necessarily talk about him necessarily. But I mean, it's just a commentary on the sort of presentation. I mean, I wasn't at my mic, but he was asking me like, "Oh, Gio, do you think I'm being dishonest?" And I don't really want to try to get into some huge expose of whether someone is or isn't. But it just did seem like Crizzle mentioned it multiple times. I mentioned it. Even when Jeremy had come in, he mentioned it about why it would look that way on a flat plane because you have a circle. And I mentioned multiple times like a hula hoop. If you put the hula hoop around your eye level and then you lower it 2 feet below your eye level, you're going to see a left to right curve. But is that the curve of a sphere? No, it's the curve of a circle, of a flat circle. And on a globe, the horizon is essentially a flat circle. If you imagine putting a hula hoop,
can get some closure from all. Can get some closure from all this. Having a post-reflection session or a session of post-reflection, well, you know, whatever it was in question, that of his presentation or just the environment that we've had, where a person obviously has to leave or has left, and we are now reflecting upon that happenstance. That's not us talking behind someone's back. That's us trying to ascertain from what has happened the situation and gain more knowledge and understanding thereupon. And it requires us to actually mention and reference people who's been participating in it, whether or not they are present.
And just real quick, we're not personally attacking them. We're kind of just commenting. So I mean, it's fine. But
yeah, and that is important if one is to actually be building knowledge from what one has been going through. And this is also actually important to be aware of, that if you have people in here who wants to hinder anyone from actually ever getting any learning from what's been going on from a topic or in between a topic, this is usually where they will intersect and say that all kind of conversation now is like a personal attack, and they will attempt to sort of like make one not have this educational intermedium in between topics, which it actually is. And this is why I have a drama pedagogical professional background. It's why I can explain this to you or everyone here. You know, it's important to have that. It should actually have been done if you want to be apt at it, at developing more understanding. It should be done through or in between every topic, or it should be a specific point as to when topic by topic are talked about in this manner, so that one can together as a community develop in the understanding thereof, and you know, understand where where the collective is at the given time towards something specific. Very lastly, this is not talking behind his back. If we are actually to do any study of anything, like, let me begin in another end. When a person comes in and they want to look at something and claim that it is to understand something or another, just by zooming in on pixels, where you know you have a straight line, you have something occurs and something or another, and holding the room to talk about these pixels and lines and stuff for an extreme amount of time, when that can just be, you know, ascertained in half a minute, is absurd. Anyone can go online or anywhere and likely have in kindergarten or somewhere in preschool learned how to draw a line, and also that a line can be curved and what a line is.
Let me interject on that, Zynek. I want you to think about this. Someone like Icy Spin has hours on end to waste doing stuff like that, when other people have to like go get busy and deal with, you know, stuff in life. He's on an assignment. Like, he will literally just sit there for hours because, you know, he's doing McToon's grunt work.
It sounds like he's attempting to hold the room intellectually, sort of like lockstep to absurdity, of feeling as if we are that dumb. Because if you treat the collective as if they are a bunch of retards and you force them to only talk about straight or curved lines, you are making a frequency, because this is live streamed and people come in and out here. He's making a vibratory frequency, to put it like that, where he's resonating what this field is now being represented as. He's becoming he's taking over, becoming like a cell tower or a radio or show or host or something, which ridicules everyone that's participating, because he is putting forth the ridicule by reducing it to a level of this absurdity, which is just like we are supposedly, at least he forces us to, arguing over what a curved line is or what a straight line is.
Yeah, I mean, can I just comment? Can I comment briefly? So it is the case. I mean, this is not really a personal attack to him. It just is what it is. It is the case. He has a YouTube channel. You know, he records live streams from here and other live streams, I think. And he puts them. I've only glanced at his channel a few times, but he records, like, it looked like at least maybe, I don't know, at least half of them were from Earth Awakenings, and maybe a few of them were. I think he had some Arwen clips and some things. But anyway, so he does have a channel.
But he's targeting certain people, Gio. He's targeting Demok, Cuddles, and Arwen.
Let Gio finish his point.
Yeah, so I'll just break this down briefly. So a few weeks ago, he was in here and he was saying that he's only here to just, you know, like, he's not here to mock and ridicule. He's here to actually have the discussion. And then I said to him, I was like, wait a minute, don't you have a YouTube channel that's like focused on mocking and ridiculing people? And then we got into a whole thing. It was heated. You know, it was like, I don't really generally get into that expose, like exposing someone, because there's a lot of issues that come along with it. I get the idea. People feel like, oh, I need to righteously expose someone, but it gets to a lot of drama, personal attacks, and it gets very messy. Anyways, but it wasn't that messy, the convo I had with him, but it got a bit heated. And because the the banner on his YouTube channel says Witsits Copium R Us. It's like Toys R Us, but it's Witsits Copium R Us. Like he used AI to like do that. And then yeah, what Crizzle said is the case. And I was kind of voicing this, that it's kind of like a troll stalking really, where he kind of trolls Democ, Arwen, where he focuses on certain people. He makes headlines, like a title, because the content is all other people's content from other channels. So it's not his content really. From what I saw, it's all just other channels. But he makes like AI. In fact, on his channel, well, anyways, he makes like AI images for the avatar image, and then he uses or he puts titles, so it'll say, Democ this and that, whatever, that kind of stuff. And then the thing is, in the comments, it'll have all kinds of mocking, insults, ridicule, that whole stuff too. all the comments, it's all the people we know in this stuff, because he's connected through MC Tune. So the whole comment section is, oh my god, these people are the dumbest people, all that kind of stuff, right? So there was kind of a tension moment when I was discussing that with him, because like I felt kind of protective in a way, just for people, like if he's going to be coming here to record and then be using it to kind of have this like display of mocking and ridicule. And it was even wild because he tried to like act, he's like, oh no, I respect all you guys. And it's like, and I was like, dude, are you really going to try to like you think you can actually convince us that you're here to like respect? It's just obvious that wasn't the case. Anyway, so there was discussion of whether he should be allowed to come here and do this. And at the moment he is here, because I mean, if he is going to be specifically like targeting people and doing like what's called troll stalking, where you kind of like, you hone in on someone, you make all kinds of videos and titles, and you kind of harass them, and you get this whole, you like target someone, basically a particular person, and you try to focus on. Yeah, but then there's the other fine line of, it's the internet. People make videos, people do commentary. I mean, look at that Quantum Eraser guy. He goes wild on people. So I guess you could also look at it the other way, like, oh, it's just the internet. People do this stuff. So anyways, sorry, I've been long-winded now, but I'm just saying, Crizzle, I totally hear you that's, that's the case, or that he has that channel doing that. And I also hear what you're saying, Psyop. And I don't know, he probably was recording all that. And so,
oh yeah, I'm sure he did. But he got one problem with me. I don't give a shit.
Well, I do, because I see it as intellectually dishonest to not give a shit or care. I don't see the position of saying I don't care as any. It doesn't have moral ground. I do care, because
yeah, what I meant was, it doesn't hurt me. It goes over my shoulder. It only makes me laugh. People like that.
I understand. Well, I follow along, but ultimately it makes me sad that if the case is so that he just is like a lacquer, or like someone's sacrificial lamb that is put in place to just go around and distort the field of any true inquiry about anything, just because, well, now you're kind of like a shill or something. That's just yeah, it's
I will say this about
it's not
he makes people like Rob Silverman seem cool,
Yeah, but it's not a good behavior. It's not sane behavior. If people here truly want to understand anything at all, one should build something from the ground up, not through assumption. One certainly can have an assumption, but one doesn't, like he have actually given a perfect demonstration of what not to do. He is hyper fixating on what they want to be showing. So much so that they ignore everything upon which this specific myopic viewing gives rise to. That they fail to actually understand how what now is focused on with the tunnel vision isn't actually existing in the world in of itself. And so it becomes crystal clear, that this piece that is hyperfixated upon is first and foremost an hyperfixation or an obsession. So we can now study, what is the point of obsessing or hyperfixating upon this? What does it create in the person, like the sensation? Is this entertaining? Is it does it make the person feel good? For what cause? Is it because it's of ridicule? Okay, then it's intellectually dishonest.
Yeah, I mean,
because they're obsessing over the truth, then perhaps it's not intellectually dishonest. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I was trying to interject. Sorry for interrupting, but I was. I mean, maybe we could move on. I mean, this is a whole thing we could go on about. But I mean, and we are sort of talking about him, but he also does have a public channel. He does a public thing with his channel, etc. So there is kind of a layer to that, and it's pretty clear, those of us that have been in the community for years. He's obviously friends with MC Tune. They are kind of buddies and friends, and whatever, all of that. And so we know what MC Tune does in terms of trying to make, like, using that word spectacle, trying to make a spectacle, trying to catch people in wild, chaotic things or whatever it may be, to try to put them on his channel to do the kind of mocking, ridiculing, pointing the finger, and sometimes insults, sometimes, all that, right? Trying to kind of demean someone, belittle someone, dehumanizing. It's all this stuff. And why, I guess, in the spirit of anti, if you want to call it flat Earth, I guess, or anti not a globe, or however you want to define that, of the Earth not being a globe.
I define it as anti-integrity, anti-truth, anti-integrity, anti-honesty, and anti-human, or anti-harmony. It's a forced or willed disturbance to a field that could resonate, It's an interlocutor into a field. It's something that's implanting itself and festering like a poison, disorienting or distorting. And everything that's at base, or that we apprehend to be attempting to be doing that, like distill or insert itself in this manner, is by definition, an intrusion to a space.
Yeah, I mean,
The
if you
space
had,
should-
yeah, if you have a topic that you're really interested in, like let's say you and your friends are into astrology and you make an astrology channel or something and you're discussing it, and then you have someone like, kind of coming in, recording, and then making these kind of mocking, ridiculing kind of, titles and clickbait, AI kind of, what are they called? Thumbnail pictures for your videos, and then having all of these kind of, it's like, it's like the KKK. Yeah. The KKK is a real thing, right? The Ku Klux Klan, where they're like, they have, hate against African American people. But it seems like the shape of the earth discussion has people that, now I'm not really equating anyone to being the KKK, but there's a similar quality of this kind of, I guess, anti what's being discussed, and then using that to try to platform, to kind of try to like make an expose or a spectacle of people discussing it, and then to try to point the finger like, oh, look at how they are fill in the blank, stupid or whatever it is, or, how, to try to then make, I guess, other people, I guess it's some kind of an approach to try to get other people turned away from it, or to not listen to the topics we discuss. I mean, we know how much, I know how much, I mean, these truth topics are attacked, and all of the different tactics that go on, and it's not a surprise what MC Toon does. Obviously, anyone who knows kind of his general thing, even though MC Toon has come here because he has asked to a few times do a show here, and it's always kind of a reluctant, there's a lot of kind of hesitancy just because of everything. But the times he has come here, he's been cordial. The times IC Spin has been here, he's been cordial. I don't think he's ever been modded here, but these guys do have their channels and they do their stuff, elsewhere. So I don't know how much more we want to go on about this. I mean, it's a whole thing. We could get to some actual real topic, but I do hear you, Psyop. There is some value in reflecting. I mean, there's a whole thing of whether you allow someone to be here or not. I mean, it's tough, because there's so many different characters, and trying to allow the environment to be open to allow everyone, who's interested in the topics, as long as their conduct is within range, because I mean, it's tough, just the balance of it all. And maybe some people would have the opinion of don't let those guys here at all. Other people would say, sure, let them be here. There's that whole topic. And anytime there's a channel, obviously there's that kind of factor of it. So I don't know. I mean, I'm open to feedback on it, but I guess we did kind of mention it because, I mean, it's, some of the things you were saying are accurate, Psyop. Yeah, just that they're the kind of.
Out of interest, do you agree if you go by the notion of saying, okay, we're going to only allow certain people here, given the majority of the people in this room are ATFs, okay, it will tend this at the moment it's quite open, people can freely talk, yes, there's always some aspect of people disrespect each other, which I'm not a fan of. You know me well enough. I don't usually disrespect anyone unless someone attacking or if you've been attacked. Okay, I don't usually go around and call people names or anything as such. Then if you go with the notion of we shouldn't allow such and such in here, and it's kind of tend to sever into like a echo chamber. It's a ping and a punk. It's flat. It doesn't matter on either ends. And I've seen this. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be honest here. Sorry, I'm going to be honest here and say, I've seen this failed in other servers where majority of globals run it. The server just got shut down much very soon. Why? Because people are biased massively, and they go, here's a flare from this idiot and whatever. Oh, there you go. We're going to ban and mute. I mean, you do get exceptions like DMAC, which
there's a difference in mocking somebody and trying to destroy their whole identity. Then you're busy by stalking a person and attacking that person. And not everybody is as strong mentally to sustain that. You know how many people in the world commit suicide just because of that bullying? We shouldn't allow that.
We shouldn't allow it, and I do agree. But Crizzle, there is a dark truth to this. Okay, this is internet. I am 100% agreeing with you. It should not happen. You're not going to bully someone on the real world. You shouldn't do it. And internet is no exception. But
I hear your point too.
People do it.
But I hear your point too, Hammer, that if you're going to allow all sort of sides of these topics to be discussed, whether it's the shape of the earth or other topics as well, that you do to have it be to have all sides be able to be represented of anything, there is kind of a larger allowance, to give everyone a voice. Now obviously that's within a range of some level of conduct, obviously. I mean, because that's what we do here. Like we moderate for conduct, but we don't moderate for opinions. We're not going to, moderate someone or time them out or anything just because they have an opinion or anything like that. It's only for conduct, and the conduct's are pretty basic stuff. I mean, 98% of the people on the server are never modded, never once, never timed out, never muted, not once. It's only about 2% or so that even have that, modding. And so those are just like the kind of basic things on that level. But I do hear what you're saying, Hammer. Like, if you are too restrictive in any way, then it ends up being, like you were saying, kind of an echo chamber kind of thing, or where you don't really have, all of the sides. And it is tough because if you take like, globe Earth versus, as it were, planar stationary, like flat Earth, as it were, you have those two. You're going to have, there's a lot of tension, you know what I mean? There's going to be the kind of haters, the you know what I mean? All of that. So yeah, it's tough, to kind of allow everyone to be able to interact, as well. So, but yeah, I also hear what Crizzle's saying. Well, that was the concern with, with what IC Spin is doing, if he's going to be targeting certain people and so on. So yeah, it's still kind of a,
like I said, I don't agree with it. But you've been around. I've been around the internet pretty much a long time ago, and I've seen things from BBS rooms to the forums and the Yahoo Messenger, MSN Messenger, all the way to ICQ, whatever, all of them. And concept of keyboard warriors was there from day one. This could be a young kid, like, I don't know, 15-year-old, and pretending he's a big man and he's acting tough. It's unfortunate, like I said to you, but it's a dark truth, or dark reality of the internet. So you have to deal with it. When you join online, the number of times I've been called all sorts of names. I go, cry about it? No, because I know the reality of the internet, and these sort of rooms. People do silly things. People act silly. Just don't listen to them, or don't respond to it. I know it's easy to say. That's the reality.
Like, what are you here for?
What am I here for? I don't know. Why do you think I'm here?
Because you love flat Earth. Because you're a closet flat earther.
Okay, does that make you happy?
I want to know why you think you're here. Every time I come in and I try to say something, Gio or Jeremy are just going to scream over me about all
Listen, if that makes
sense. I just really want to know.
Bro, I was just excitedly supporting what you were saying because I was just passionately.
Yeah, I can't tell because you guys are constantly throwing me out of the conversation.
I'll be honest. Yes,
your mic. I didn't hear what you said. Your mic is like really hard to hear. Electric.
Yeah, no, I'm brushing my teeth. Sorry.
All right. No, all I was saying, I was just excitedly saying that like some part of me just really wants like some of these globe folks. I'm not trying to call anyone out, to be like, in my viewpoint, to be honest and be like, hey, I'm interested in flat Earth. It might be flat. It might be a stationary plane. That's why, you know what I mean? Like Hammer, would you be willing to say that you're interested that the Earth may actually be stationary and planar, and that's part of the reason you're attracted? Because there's possible truth.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. It was a learning curve for me. As an example, when someone talks about refraction, I'm like, okay, let me dig deeper into refraction. If someone talks about, what other things got me to go and learn a lot more. Just not saying, okay, as an example, just a random example, it doesn't mean, I would say, let's say someone says, oh, in maths, such and such, in mathematics, so you got Euclidean, non-Euclidean, if it's a sphere, it applies such and such, such and such formulas apply. I got to a point, I was like, I'm not sure about the answer myself. What is the truth behind it? How does this actually work? That got me to learn. I got me to go, okay, I need to investigate, I need to understand more, read more, learn more. That was the interesting part of it, the learning part of it, which forced me to go and learn more at the topic rather than just blindly say it is what it is. As an example, I told in this room before, I've done Focal many years ago. I've seen the dish.
You learn more about the topic, so you're learning how Earth is not a globe. Yeah.
It's opposite actually. It's not much of things. It's the opposite of it. It's actually strengthening my position even more and more. So I don't have to say I just follow someone. I'm just listening blindly to someone. No. Actually help me to strengthen my position.
Some people think their position is getting strengthened by means of what do they call it? Cognitive dissonance. Like you're just reaffirming to yourself while being presented evidence against your position.
Yeah, I mean, Hammer, I hear what you're saying, and that is a response that some of the globe folks will often say, like, oh, I learn a lot, I'm just here to learn. I swear to God, I'm not questioning it at all. I totally think it's a globe, but I just find it interesting, and I'm just here to learn. But now we talk about a lot of topics other than the cosmology. I mean, physics and all kinds of other topics too. Obviously, I mean, spirituality and health and nutrition. I mean, we talk about a lot of topics, so it's not only the Earth discussion, but obviously there is a kind of central core component of the Earth question that is, in my view, a core component of what is truth in today's world, and it obviously brings that right to the surface. And it's like, the globe folks seem to come to places to discuss the shape of the Earth, because what I was going to say, like you're seeking out people that have a planar stationary Earth and don't think it's a globe to then learn about all these topics. What I would say is, the thing is, if you were really wanted to learn about relativity or something, there's a lot of places you could learn about that. You could go online. There's probably classes. Maybe there's local meetups. You could go. There might even be servers that are like globe cosmology. Maybe there's not though. Maybe there's not enough like cutting edge interest in it. I don't know. But like the cutting edge conversations are happening here. So it's just where it's like, if you really think there is a globe, why would you have to come to a place to discuss the all of the topics with people that don't even think it's a globe on the foundation? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of places you could learn. So that's why I just think there's more to it. But I'm not trying to like.
Yeah, that's like going to a Catholic church to talk about Islam. Yeah.
Gio, I completely understand what you're saying. As an example, I'm part of a study group doing. It's 4 of us doing a relativity. Actually, I discussed this with John. the PhD John, and back and forth with him. So I'm doing all of them. But again, sometimes listening to the conversation, the things you say, it's interesting. Again, like I say, the other day, I will find the exact topic. I need to. Yeah, again, it was something. Someone was talking about the relativity and what was something interesting. I was like, actually, that's an interesting point. I have to go back to my team and say, listen, guy, I heard this such and such. So that's my point. There are times you guys ask a very good question, and whether you ask it on purpose.
Like what questions? Why not tell us what questions you're talking about? What do you think is a good point that Flat Earth has made?
Let me see if I can find the exact question, exact topic. I need to be honest. I need to go through my notes. There's a lot going on. Let me see if I can tag you. Is that okay?
Well, thanks for doing that. Yep.
No, I'll try to find it. Yeah.
Well, we use the joke about like if there was a community that said pigs can fly. Would any of us go hang out with a bunch of people that think pigs fly? It's just a funny analogy, because like if some of the globe folks think that we're totally wrong about the Earth and it's absolutely not a stationary plane and it really is a globe, then I guess from your viewpoint it's equivalent to someone saying pigs can fly. Like, it's just something totally wrong. Now, but the thing is, would you go to a pigs can fly community to learn about, pig biology or to learn about biology, even if it wasn't about how they fly, it was maybe about their digestive tract and all those, like, is that the place you would go? The people who think pigs can fly and they happen to be asking good questions? It just seems to me like if there wasn't the core thing of like, in that analogy, I guess you'd have to be interested in like, oh, well, maybe pigs can fly and they're asking good questions, which in the relationship of this analogy, you'd have to say, okay, well, maybe the Earth is a stationary plane and there's a bunch of good questions, and you're open to the possibilities of what could be the case. And I'm not trying to like divine your thoughts or say that you think this. I'm not trying to accuse you or anyone of it. I just like I just think it'd be really cool because I do think it's going on in a lot of folks' minds, like what I'm saying, like that there is. I'm not saying that you're like, well, there's the idea of like flat curious, or like flat curious, where it's like, and I've kind of made the joking statement is that like in my viewpoint, the globe folks who come to the community here to discuss this are the most flat curious people on the entire Earth. Like I'll try to be brief, but like my mother, for example, she believes the globe. She's pretty mainstream in a lot of her thinking. She's not really questioning the shape of the Earth. She's heard me go on about it a little bit, but she's not really questioning it. And even she agrees with me that she's like, people that are coming, to talk to you guys, like they must be very curious that the Earth might be flat. Why else would they do that? So from her viewpoint, she can see from the outside because otherwise you wouldn't even, there's a million other places you could go hang out and learn about all these topics and stuff that, that wouldn't have to be here. And so just some part of me thinks it'd be cool if more of the globe folks would be like, you know what, there's just a little more leniency to why, to some of the motivations, I guess.
To be honest, it sounds that way. I know I'm not going to disagree. I mean, on the face of it, it looks that way. But for instance, for me, I never had the question in my mind, never had the doubt. It's just a matter of, it becomes like a bit of a educational. And I did say this before. It becomes a bit of educational. I mean, just that's interesting. It's not like I said, a lot of times some of the questions are valid.
More of a challenge.
Someone goes about, great circle. I go, oh, great circle. Okay, that's what great circle mean. But I'm not talking details. Can it be all the mechanics behind it? No, I know in principle what it means. I know in principle what it does, but and I studied this 20 years ago. Let me, do a refresher on it.
Well, I hear you on all that. No, I know we talk about there's a tremendously progressive and advanced discussions that happen in all these topics. I mean, the intellectuality, if that's a word, of people here can be profound at times. I mean, sometimes it's like I have to go back and rewind to really, I'd have to probably listen to it a couple times. Sometimes the combos are very quick and there's a lot of info. But I mean, are you saying that you like? And Nico just posted this in the chat. He said, "I'm here for fun, to speak and debate, learn as well. And engineering and science is a field I'm not bad at. So Globe versus FE is an adequate arena." I hear you, but do you guys feel like you have to come to talk to flat earthers who is claimed to be, it's claimed by some to be that, it's just totally wrong and you guys are so wrong and all your physics are wrong and everything's wrong. It's completely a globe, but I'm going to come here to learn the most advanced topics with you guys. You see how that just sounds a little
I wanted to say something to that once Cameron responds.
Remember, it's like I say, that it's not always, there are times, like I said, there are times you guys are discussing something and it just, piques my curiosity and I go, okay. Like I said to you, it's just a matter of, I know this thing. Also, as a force of habit, I'm that kind of guy. Nature of my job, whatever you call it. I need to, when I want to know something, I don't want to know just the surface of it. Even if I have the surface knowledge, but if it piques my curiosity, I'm going to find all of it. I'm going to go read as much as I can to just ensure I know this best possibility in and out. That's my thought process. But don't get me wrong, it's not all the time. Like I said, there's a lot of time. Chat, I can't speak online. If someone makes, the other day, remember someone was talking shit about AI, so I have to confront that person and say, hey, this is a bit, yes, you're talking now. This is nonsense you're talking about. Or, I don't know, I was arguing with Crystal about, on the C cables and how we use a great circle for calculate the amount of cable that's needed, so on and so forth. Okay, there are times, like I said, I hear something and argument come from the other end. It sort of makes sense. It's a valid question. Now I go, okay, is this a misunderstanding question, or is there actually some your truth behind it? That piques my curiosity. It can be very simple. At the end, I just realized, I just go research it. I go, actually, I've been sitting now. It was in front of my face the whole time. Or it can be something quite deep. It requires me to go, put my hat on and go, okay, you know what is this thing all about?
Like, do you think the globe is perfect? Like, do you think that there's not a single flaw with the model?
When you say flaw, what do you mean, Adam?
Like, okay, the example that comes to mind for me is the distribution of heat. Like, do you think that just works on a globe because it's already demonstrated it doesn't?
It does, but okay. So can I see the demonstration? It doesn't work.
What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, where's the demonstration that it does? That's the problem.
Are you talking about like a ball of heat, basically the sun, and then like that the poles of the globe are icy cold, and then the middle section is burning hot? That it doesn't work with the inverse square law of heat. So like if you have a marble next to a bonfire or any type of heat source, there's no way you could get the temperature variation like that. Is that what you're referring to? Like the dramatic difference in temperature?
Yeah, exactly. It gets brought up a lot, but yeah, that's something I think a lot of people can just admit. Even as a glober.
Oh, I mean, thermodynamics is an incredibly complicated subject, and heat transfer as well. Like, it's not just as simple as inverse square of heat. Like, that's just not how it works. It's so complicated to like model accurately.
Well, I agree. There's arguments about the atmosphere and the different wind patterns, and I realize that. But still, I mean, can you replicate a ball, any type of ball with any type of heat source being heated?
Well, yeah,
the answer is no. I mean, you guys got to just admit that you can't do it.
No, we do though. We have meteorology. We have weather forecasts. We have temperature forecasts. Like, this is
it's a model and demonstrate something. You need to recreate it on a small scale. Like, take a light source, have the light source be your heat source, and then have all of the heat on your ball match the heat on the Earth on your ball.
Who said this? Who claimed this? It's not the scientific model. We don't say you have to replicate everything on a small scale.
Just making sure, because you guys pretend you don't know stuff. I don't know why.
Who says that we have to replicate everything on a small scale? Because it ain't the scientific community.
Yeah, that's your excuse, because you can't. No.
You've come up with a false claim of that you have to be able to do this to prove it that no one's claiming other than yourself. So you're creating your own imaginary standard of evidence and then choosing whether to believe things whether they meet to your imaginary standard of evidence, which isn't really scientific.
Well, isn't physics scalable?
No, not always.
It's not always. We never
not for the globe.
We never claim.
Yeah, you can't scale the globe because it's stupid.
For everything but the globe.
No, just because something doesn't always scale doesn't mean it's stupid. That's a really ignorant statement to make.
No, you're making ignorant statements. You're the one claiming that you don't have to be able to demonstrate your claim.
Electromagnetism is a thing that doesn't scale.
Sorry, let's stick with the heat distribution and temperature topic for now and not go towards electromagnetism. Rocketman, you said that thermodynamics is a pretty complicated subject, and I partly agree on that. You should partly agree on that certain concepts are pretty counterintuitive. For example, the distance to the sun in the winter, and for example, in burning core, still when you go deeper into the ocean, they get colder. There are certain things which do not congruently fit in each other.
Yeah, they do. First off, the distance to the Earth and the sun, and in terms of heat, perfectly makes sense because your distance changes only 3%. So if you actually use the inverse square law and add a 3% change, it's a very marginal thermal difference. And also,
it's fine. I'm just saying counterintuitive from the point of that when you go closer to a heat source, it usually gets warmer, like from the common sense point, and then you need to introduce another dimension to make this counterintuitive points, which usually contradict common sense, make work. It's just that counterintuitiveness which kind of makes it difficult to access certain topics.
Well, these guys appeal to authority. They got Google telling them it's okay to invoke pseudoscience in their models.
No, it's not counterintuitive.
They just come here and they tell us the same thing.
Complicated than applying your common sense, because your common sense also depends on how much you're educated in the field. My common sense on thermodynamics is probably more than most people because I've studied it a lot. So your common sense thought towards a specific question depends on your knowledge on it. So for me, the common sense logic of the distance of the Earth and the thermal radiation we get makes perfect sense to me, and so does the heat.
Are you insisting that heat distribution didn't make sense until I started talking to you because of your credentials? You're freaking ridiculous. No, like I said, heat distribution is hard to understand. Maybe for a glober, maybe for you guys, because you have to imagine a ball all the time and you can't just stick to reality.
No, I'm saying your perspective of common sense changes depending on your knowledge of the subject, which is absolutely true. Name one thing that doesn't apply.
Dude made a great point about how when you get closer to a heat source, typically you get warmer. And throughout the year, as the Earth gets closer to the sun, you're actually further from the sun when it's warmer. That's what they say. It's stupid.
Well, it's not stupid. Again, if you actually looked into the reason why it's hotter, it's about the distribution of energy per square meter.
Yeah, they had to come up with something because I know they had to come up with something because they're supposedly on a ball.
No, it's not. It makes perfect sense. Again, your common sense is different to mine because I've studied.
Yeah, first pretend you're on a ball, then come up with how something would possibly work using pseudoscience on the ball.
No, you can do this experiment. Get a yoga ball, get a heat source, and see which changes the temperature of the surface more.
All right, so go get it. Somebody must have done it already then, right?
To the heat source.
Somebody must have done it already then, right?
I don't know what you're saying because
you're claiming somebody can do it, right?
Yeah, so if you really want to debunk it, do it.
All right, so did somebody do it? You got a video of someone do it? Did you do it?
I'm saying I understand the physics. If you want to prove it to yourself, you do that. I'm not doing it.
You're claiming something was done. I'm just wondering,
no, I'm saying
how do you know it was done?
I'm saying you can do this.
Okay, I know, but has it been done?
Yo, what's up?
It's not that specific one of people taping thermal sensors to a yoga ball.
Hey, you guys live in imagination land. I'm asking you if it's been done. You're saying it can be done. So the answer is no, you haven't done it. No one's done it.
According to you and no one else. That's like saying, oh, I haven't done it.
I gotta be telling you what should be coming out of your mouth right now. You should be saying it has not been done. That's all you gotta say.
Oh my god. I do not know of thousands, if not millions of people and what they have done over the last couple of centuries. That doesn't say that those things haven't happened.
I put up all my life.
Cool.
Yeah, dude, why are you pretending?
Pretending what? That thermodynamics is very well understood. It's a complicated subject and used in so many applications around the world.
You don't sound like you understand it very well. You really don't. And I'd love to understand it.
We haven't even gone into details of thermodynamics. I can get on my lecture slides if you want, and we can go into nitty gritty. But
no, I hear you. I don't know that anyone's necessarily contesting thermodynamics in general in terms of how it functions with engineering and things on Earth. What we're talking about is essentially heliocentric thermodynamics. Space, the claim of the outer space, the spheres in space, the sun 93 million miles away, the globe Earth that's in motion, all of those factors, and the heating distribution on said sphere, which is something that really can't be directly tested immediately on Earth in the same way that an airplane or something based on engineering can be done. So we're not just talking about all heat distribution and all of physics. We're talking about specific with the Earth and what is claimed with the Earth.
Sure, but I guess the disagreement in this is how validating you see mathematical models, right? To get the globe model to say that the sun being 93 million miles away heating the Earth makes sense, we apply the same math that we do for all of engineering when doing thermal insulation, when doing any thermal equations.
Can you teach me when I'm supposed to actually pull the light away from something to make it warmer? Can you teach me?
When it's like some order of magnitude of the initial distance, moving it 3% isn't going to have a dramatic change.
That's not what I asked you, was it?
I mean, it is, but sure.
No, it isn't.
You said when.
Can
What do
you,
you mean
yes
by
or
when?
no? Can you teach me when? Give me an example here on Earth. When I want to make something warmer, I actually move the heat source away from it.
This is too complicated for him. He doesn't get it.
No, I get it. It's because you're misconstruing what the actual reason
So
behind
yes
things
or no?
warmer
Yes
is.
or no? You can teach me or not. That was the question.
If you want to learn, then yes. But if you're looking for an answer, then no.
So yes, you can teach me.
Yes, if you're actually willing to learn.
So 5 times asked, finally answered with a condition. Bravo. Okay, so now I'm willing to learn. So would you please teach me?
Yes. So if an object is moving a small fraction, the distance to the heat source is not a main driving factor to the temperature of the object. Its orientation to that heat source is. So the part of the object that is...
It's always orientated. Ball versus ball always has the same orientation. I get that you're going to say different zones. When you want to make the point about space and, distance, since you have your little space magic, I mean, you could just say that there's like the same type of heat, you know? Or I'm sorry, that there's no conductivity. I'm sorry, that it's just radiative heat.
It is.
Right. So we don't have to go through all that with conduction and everything. So why don't you just do the math? Give me the example. Show me how when you go away from the source, it captures more of the energy. Please show me.
It's not the fact that it's going away that's making it hotter. It's its orientation to the heat source that is making it hotter. The distance is not the reason it's making it hotter. The distance is an irrelevant point to the temperature.
You mean making an area of it hotter or the total ball hotter?
You're making an area of it hotter.
Oh, that's what I think you need to teach me. I think that's the important.
Dude says that you can recreate how heat is distributed on Earth on a ball using a single light source. You know, I'm willing to bet money that you can't. You know, like all the money that I got. How about that?
I mean, test it yourself.
You said it's been tested, dude. Go get your test.
No, I'm saying it's something you can do.
Look at the gift, the image I put in text chat just now.
I know we've all seen this image.
Can I say something?
Go for Nico.
Yeah, go for it.
So if you want to test how much energy is arriving depending on the distance and the angle, you can do. You take one photovoltaic cell and you place it at one distance and you move it 3%, and you will check how much energy the photovoltaic cell will be producing. And after you do the same experiment, you take the photovoltaic cell and you change the angle, and you will see how much.
Let us know when you do that. Please let us know. Nico, get it done, bro.
Do a little sphere ball of these cells.
We do it all the time.
You guys realize, like, it's not the future. Like, if you plan on doing it, that's great, but you didn't do it yet.
You know that for a photovoltaic panel to be effective, it should be at a maximal directly perpendicular to the sun coming to it. And if you take the same photovoltaic panel, same area, but you put it at an angle, it will produce less.
Yeah, really, we should try to get these guys on the ISS to do it because they're in zero gravity. They should be able to take a light source and have it orbit an Earth. You know, their little scaled down model Earth.
You have a ball and ball.
There you go. It's orbiting the Earth.
They are panel on the ISS.
You guys can't demonstrate anything. You guys can't even demonstrate that they were really in zero gravity on the ISS.
I mean,
to even be able to demonstrate your psycho globe claims.
It's incredibly easy to demonstrate. On that video for you.
Yes. Why should we do the work? You want to say it's wrong? You can just do it.
Because you made the claim. Because you're making pseudoscientific claims, so you must think something pseudoscientific.
No, it's not pseudoscientific. I know I know how to orient my solar panel to get the maximum of energy from it.
So this that I've posted, there's a science communicator on YouTube who had a theory about how chains operated in zero gravity. So he, over many attempts, got actually some astronauts to take some chain up to the ISS, and they literally called each other over Microsoft Teams and performed the experiments in front of him on the ISS, and recorded it and filmed it.
You don't know if that was at that replica ISS. Like, how do you know?
The one where you can see a chain floating and rotating in space, and with the
guy it's not hard. Yeah, that's not hard to do with CGI. You saying they can't fake stuff floating around?
You're joking.
Are you saying they can't fake stuff floating around?
You can't fake stuff floating around when they're interacting.
Really? No, dude, we literally have evidence that the stuff that's floating around doesn't interact with the astronauts. Like, it goes through their hands. It goes through their hand, dude.
Watch the video.
Dude, yeah, this guy's like playing with some kind of like, it looks like a loop or some kind of like thread. I don't know, like a rope. The rope like goes through his hand. Because he's trying to demonstrate he's in zero gravity. Like, look, my rope is flapping around in the zero G. And then his hand goes through. Indicating that he's not really in zero gravity. You know,
why do you not watch the video?
It's really important we show you a live call. I wonder why.
Well, you guys have been asking for these things, but then as soon as we show them to you, you just don't really care and want to see. It's amazing.
I don't like cake boys.
They're filming this from multiple angles. And
a
he's
free democ
on live call. Like it's a
5.
Release.
You think they're gonna live call from the moon this year? Think they're actually gonna get there?
that astronaut, he had a Freudian slip during that talking about space. He said that it would be the first time that they're going to. That wasn't a Freudian slip. He just with big smile on his face. This is the first time we're going to the moon. Like, just, they don't even fucking care, dude. They just lie to you and just keep it trucking.
And you send a video where he said that?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that.
You have to watch the whole thing. It's one of those things, kind of a cherry pick from this conversation.
Oh, I know it absolutely will be. It's like Neil Armstrong thing.
So do you think they're gonna?
No, this was filmed this year. It was a recent astronaut said it.
Yep.
Let's make bets on the live call from the moon. Let's make bets. What news stations cover it? Or let's make predictions. I mean to say.
I mean, everybody's just Freudian slipping all over the place. Anybody that has to claim they're in space has Freudian slipped and accidentally said that they didn't go to space. Like everyone. Don Pettit, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, this new guy that's claiming to go to the Artemis mission with them.
Well, also,
they all just accidentally say, we're not going to space. Well, we didn't.
I predict this in the script of the showdown. Look, they're going to make a call. They're going to be talking to us. And then there's going to be like this. Oh, okay. Well, now we're almost to the backside. So we got to let you guys go now. We'll talk to y'all when we, revive the radio link again. They're going to like go around the moon and say bye to us. It's so awesome.
It's funny how no one will actually look at the video. They just watch it. It's interesting.
Make a prediction. What it's going to look like when they call us from the moon in a few months. You're not confident that they're actually going to go since they keep canceling the rockets or failing?
Well, they've got people on board, so they want to make sure everything goes well. So,
come on, man, they've had how many years? How many decades?
You know what? Rocket science is kind of hard, you know.
Yeah, right. Not the way you talk about it.
He's a rocket scientist. That's the funny part.
I'm literally working on my second engine now.
I know.
That's what's funny about it. You're a cake boy, dude. You're a cake boy. You have this overconfidence, and then you'll be like, and then you'll pop out. Overconfident, pop out.
I mean, I can show you the 20-page document I made going over the initial design of the engine, but
would you agree if you've seen a behavioral pattern of overconfidence and then copping out, running away, change? So overconfidence, then kneeling. Like, would that not
pretty yourself there, Don?
Yeah, but I don't do that though.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit here and make claims. Well, you know damn well this NASA bullshit is super sus, bro. Why would you have overconfidence? Because you make an item that goes up there in the sky, you think that like, oh yeah, we're leaving Earth, we're going to the moon. Like, you're crazy, bro.
Why don't you watch my video now?
Crazy.
Why don't you watch my video?
You should be here helping people, like proving like what your company does if you're a rocket scientist or whatever, and giving more. Like, you'll cake out and fucking be like, we don't do things for flat earthers, and then be like, yeah, we're gonna make a live call from the moon just to show everybody. We want to prove it to them. That's not, it's magic. Like, dude, like, come on. Why do they do that? Well, why don't I watch the video?
Kneeling. Why don't you watch my video?
My name's Don. What's up? Hi, everybody. I'm Don. Does anybody have videos for me?
Yeah, I sent you a video. Watch it.
Oh, you DM me? Thank you. So,
yeah, while I was looking for this clip of the astronaut saying this is the first time we're going to the moon, they just canceled the Artemis mission again because of a hydrogen leak. Dumbasses.
I'd love you to do what they do.
They need you, obviously. Why don't they have you?
Because I'm still at uni. I also don't live in the US, so it's kind of difficult for me.
They're looking out for people like you.
Well, I'm looking at the SpaceX postgraduate role, so might not be too long now.
Yeah, but Electric, dude, don't you think it wouldn't be... See, I don't think it'd be that hard for them to fake this around the moon thing. Now, if they're going to claim to land on the moon, that's going to get a little trickier because of, like, what they had to do during the 60s to try to make it, look like an environment like that, which leaving that whole analysis out of it, the whole moon landing thing. But I'm just saying, like, for this fly around thing, they have like the SpaceX capsules and the things, even the ISS that claim to be going around the globe, and they show, some dudes in a capsule, they show a background, even like that, what was that, the Starman, the Tesla car in space thing as well, where they just have a background layer of the globe there, and then, whatever little vehicle or the little equipment they always put like in the corner, it'll have a little like, solar panel thing, and it makes it look like there's equipment. So to me, it doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult for them to, do a rocket launch, flip to another camera, claim their, show a little bit of footage of going to the moon, and then quote unquote, and then once they're there, they could just replace the globe layer with a moon layer, a moon layer.
The inside is important, Gio, because they did the outside with the Artemis like 2 years ago. Now we're going to see this inside funness, inside the capsule.
Well, I mean, you should get that.
I think that's exactly what they do. Honestly, they're just finishing. They're just final touches, like cleaning up any, errors.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if there's the old idea that they delayed it because they don't have their the fakery quite dialed in yet, or they needed to do a little something more. I mean, that's obviously speculation if that's why they delayed it, from the perspective that they're not really going, or whether that's just planned. But I'm just saying, if they just had them in a capsule and then have the moon in the background, now maybe it'd be a little trickier to make the moon background because it does have to be, it has to look. They also have to try to, I guess, would have to do the dark side of the moon thing, so they're gonna have to put that in. So it would be, if they're gonna do this, it would be maybe something we haven't seen yet, like whether they're gonna use AI tech or whatever they're gonna do.
Oh my god, dude. Remember when they presented the dark side of the moon? I was like, dude, what kind of camera is that? Like, why are you taking pictures of the moon with like the worst camera I've ever seen?
Oh, dude, that one is so bad. Yeah, we're talking about where it passes in front. I have I have this one with this funny meme where it replaces that laughing guy's face on the moon. I have the real one too, but dude, that one is so absurdly bad. I can't. When you focus in on that too, you can see how the moon is cut in around the Earth. I guess that's the epic.
Yo, and it could have been a video. Like this was recently. You could have showed like the orbit around the moon and show us like at least 180 degrees. You could show us the back. Show us the whole hemisphere, wrap around the moon. Show us. It's just a still image of like a blurry gray. It looks like somebody's like pegged like a lump of clay at the ground.
It literally looks cut and pasted. I know, it looks like a lump of clay and then cut and pasted in there. It's so bad. It's so unreal. It's just completely unrealistic looking.
I think they don't care to make it look real anymore. Like I think they get a kick out of like doing a bad job. I think they literally like laugh about it at this point, like how bad they do, and now they still believe it. Like they're going for an effort. The effort is how little effort can we put into faking space, make it like not look real, and still have them believe. That is the ultimate flex. Like I got them believing something that doesn't even look real.
But you see what I mean about the Artemis 2 thing of like if they're gonna fly around, that all they have to do is have a capsule and then just a moon layer in the background and be like, there it is, wow, and that's it, and people would probably believe it. And so I'm just saying this one doesn't seem that hard to fake. If they're gonna land on the moon, now they have to replicate like in the capsule they can replicate the zero-G effect. I mean, what they're already doing with the ISS and stuff. But if they're gonna be on the moon, now you got dust kicking up and you got these other factors that become involved. So it does seem like that would be a little trickier, but just to do the fly around, I think it's within range that they could do it. It'd be interesting to see what they delayed it a month. So I guess we'll see if they do it in a month.
Yeah, man, the possibilities are endless. Like apparently you guys got satellites and cameras and the ability to like, traject due to orbit. And we've never seen the other side of the moon. And you say, we're gonna go look at the other side of the moon. And you didn't show a video, you showed a picture. And we're in the year like, I think that was like 2020. I don't remember when they officially showed that. But it was just a few years ago. Like how fucking dumb. That's so dumb. We never saw the backside of the moon. You didn't take a video, you took a picture. Go fuck yourself. You're literally you're insulting my intelligence. And I got the video of the astronaut. This is the video.
Be the worst
he says it in here. I'm looking for the timestamp. Somebody clipped it up, but I can't find it. There's a 59-minute video of this guy talking, but I got the video. I'm gonna post it. If anybody wants to find this guy saying this shit. What's up, Left Lane? You were gonna insult my intelligence. Tell me that I should believe the shit that they say.
No, it's just not a good argument. You're just ranting.
It's not a good argument, in your opinion, man. You believe the moon landing. You're kind of gullible, man. Sorry.
Yeah, I believe that we have the technology and the intelligence to do these things.
Why isn't he allowed to like express his viewpoint without having to be disparaged as if he's ranting? I mean, he was just speaking his mind. What's the problem with that?
Well, it's just not something that we can all join in on to just hear him rant about it. It's like there's no particular point to address.
Can you even steel man what I said? I wonder.
Sorry, Left Lane.
It's all crazy. It's all crazy. You're insulting me.
No, that's not a steel man. Sorry. That's a straw man.
It looks weak compared to what we could have. It is it's lower than the minimum. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a joke what they presented. That is the point.
Yeah, the point is that Globers have an extremely low standard of evidence for the claims that NASA makes. NASA said they saw the other side of the moon, and then they showed you a blurry gray image. In the age of like, we're in a digital age, dude. You didn't bring a high quality camera. You could have brought like your fucking 24,000 pixel camera. Like they got the most insane cameras in the world. They didn't shoot a video of the other side of the moon. And you're like, I don't understand your argument. Dude, I don't understand why you don't understand my argument.
I don't know if Left Lane can hear me. Think about when they let the Tesla car supposedly try to leave Earth and they had the camera and it's showing the shiny Earth and all this. It's moving around. They attempted to make it look a little organic and all this. Why wouldn't there be multiple objects like that out there falling around the moon in space? They show you this computer graphic looking image, right? When we know they have the capability of doing other stuff and they fuck around and tease you with the other stuff, but then that's cut off. But then the far away stuff, they can all of a sudden turn it back on, give you these little weird looking snippets. Like, think about it.
Yo, Left Lane, is that an eclipse in your profile picture?
No, that's the moon setting with the terminator line practically horizontal to the horizon, parallel to the horizon. makes you wonder where the sun is.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I see what you did there.
But what do you mean parallel to the horizon? I'm trying to zoom in on it. It's kind of hard to see.
Yeah, it's sort of cropped out of a big image that I took, but the terminator line is nearly horizontal to the horizon or parallel to the horizon. So, that would indicate to me that the sun is beneath me and beneath the moon.
You mean the angle of it? Like with the angle, whether it's angling up or down? The terminator line? Is that the part you mean?
Yeah, the terminator line where, it's a half moon and the lit half. Where is the light source for that?
Well, I thought you were talking about, how sometimes like if you have the moon, like let's say it's a half phase, and how sometimes like when you look at it, looks like it's angled up and to the right, and then other times it looks like it's angled down and to the right. Like angled like, to like the northeast position of the moon, and then other times it's like the southeast position. I thought you were referring to that because for that, like if whatever those objects are up there, I mean, there's different ideas. I don't necessarily think the moon is reflecting the sun's light, although the phase of the moon does seem related to the position with the sun. One theory of how that could be working is through UV, because UV actually travels like much further and it's not visible. So the visible light of the sun could, reach an extinction, but the UV travels further. So whatever those objects are up there, the physical light would not reach the moon. Like let's say during a full moon, if you have half of the plane of the Earth has the sun, the other half has the moon in a full moon, but the moon's fully lit. Well, if the sun was on a planar Earth was lighting up the moon, it would also be lighting up all kinds of other things around it. So and it's nighttime, so the sun is nowhere to be seen. However, if the UV light or the UV radiation actually does travel all the way to the moon, the UV could actually be activating the moon to fluoresce its own light. And with that being the case, the sun and moon, if they are at slightly different altitudes, you could get those angling effects on a planar surface as well without the sun having to be like down around a ball. And that's just a speculation, obviously, because I mean, I can't go up there and get a sample or anything, but it's one possibility of how it could be working.
Sorry, I'm in traffic, but yeah, it's just an image to make you think. It's all, of course, from my perspective, it's just the sun's down there shining its light on the moon, but I don't know. How would I don't know. I don't even know what to ask about that, how that could happen that way.
Geo, in your example of the moon, you take the specific phase of the full moon, but you have seen the moon during the day and the sun also during the day, and you can see that the crescent of the moon is pointing at the sun. Why it should be different during the night for a full moon?
Did you say why it would be different at night?
No, the moon. When you can see the moon during the day and the sun at the same time, you can see that the crescent of the moon is looking at the sun, oriented to the sun, and you have the full light and it's visible and it's almost the same color of it. And when it's night, the moon is still looking at the sun, just we don't see the sun at the same time. Why it should be different during the day and during the night?
I sometimes have a hard time making out what you're saying, and maybe you're not on your better sounding mic, but I think I may have heard everything. Does anyone know exactly what he was saying? Like, what do you mean? Why is it different in the day and the night? Well, okay. I mean, okay. So one thing about the UV light theory is that so crystals, like in the physical world, crystals will fluoresce light in reaction to applying UV light to them. So if you apply UV light to certain crystals, they actually fluoresce. They'll actually emit light. So that is interesting as well. Now, I'm not necessarily saying the moon is a crystal, but if it functions like a celestial crystal, I've often referred to it as that kind of idea of a celestial crystal. Again, just in this realm of speculation. But so if the sun's UV light is actually what's causing the fluorescing process to occur, and then it would occur in relation to its position to the sun, then whether the moon is in the day closer to the sun or whether it's further from the sun, and it's waxing and waning, if it's functioning something like that, if the moon is fluorescing its own light in relation to the UV radiation, then it wouldn't be the visible light, it would be the UV. But I'm not quite understanding. But when you're saying what it would be different in the night and day, I guess what I would say maybe in relation to that is if it's functioning something like what I'm proposing as just a theory or a speculation concept, if it is the UV that's causing the moon to fluoresce, then when the sun and moon are visible both during the daytime, when the moon is getting closer to a new moon, it would still be the UV from the sun that the moon would still be fluorescing in relation to its position, its geometric position to the sun. And then when the moon is 180 degrees from the sun, during a full moon, it would be still fluorescing its light in relation to its position to the sun, but not necessarily the visible light reflecting off the moon.
So you have seen that the moon is less bright during the day because you have the sun, but the sun is here. You receive the full UV of the sun, but it's less bright. And when it's a full moon during the night, it is very bright. It's a pain in the ass when you are doing photography of the moon. You have to really play with the exposure to be able to see detail on the moon. So you tell me that when the sun and the moon are closer, it is less bright, and when the sun and the moon are at the maximum distance, it is brighter.
Yeah.
What you say?
Well, I mean, that seems to be what we observe, because I do know what you're saying. When it's closer to a new moon, the moon is more dull looking, dull in its fluorescing qualities, whereas when it's a full moon, it's very, very bright. Well, and I hear what you're saying, that one might think if it's the UV thing, that when it's closer, it would be getting more UV, when it's further, it would be getting less. However, there's another factor. Again, it's a relation to how crystals work. So with the UV light that can be applied to crystals and they fluoresce light, another facet of that is while the crystal is fluorescing its light from the UV, activating it, if you heat the crystal, it will stop fluorescing. And if the crystal is kept very cold, it will actually fluoresce more. So when the moon gets close to the sun, perhaps that's why it essentially turns off, especially at a new moon, because it's just one idea that the heat of the sun is actually lessening the fluorescence in the way that a crystal does, because it's close to the heat of the sun. And when it's 180 degrees, or when it's opposite, furthest away from the sun, it would be potentially the coldest, but still getting the UV in order to fluoresce. So again, I'm not stating this is absolutely 100% how it is or proven. I mean, I don't have any way to prove this. It's in the realm of speculation. But if you add the hot and cold relation to how crystals fluoresce, it's an interesting thing to think about.
Okay. I don't know much about crystal. I didn't work with that. So
I was having a thought while you were explaining that. Sorry, Nico. So I've listened to a couple audiobooks recently, and these guys that like Walter Russell, he has a book called The Universal One. He insists that the moon is not being illuminated by the sun, that it's its own light source. And same thing is said by Helena Blavatsky, Albert Pike. They're all saying that the moon is its own light source. It's interesting that thousands of years of astronomy, and these are the most versed people in, and they're saying we don't think, why wouldn't they think it was being illuminated by the sun if they had all this knowledge of the Greeks and the celestials and what everybody claims about the globe? It's why would people entertain that idea, being so knowledgeable?
Yeah, that's an interesting point, especially in the time that they lived. If it was claimed that they quote unquote discovered that it was the sun reflecting, yeah, that's interesting. And multiple different, like you're saying too, they weren't just all in the same group or anything, different people. Well, I think it's also a pretty ancient concept as well. I mean, I think the moon reflecting the sun's light would be kind of a modern idea with the heliocentric model and the way they claim it's working, because like I said, I mean, on any type of flat Earth type of system, wouldn't really make sense to be the visible light of the sun, because you see a full moon in the dark of nighttime.
It is not fluorescent that the moon is reflecting the sun. So you can take, for example, Aristotle, that in his evidence that the Earth is a globe. So we are talking 500 BC, something like that. He noticed that it was a shadow of the Earth in front of the moon during eclipse, that it was hiding the light from the sun. So he was already assuming that the light that comes from the sun, it is lighting the moon, and that the shadow of the Earth is coming in front of the moon. So it's not heliocentric. It's way before that it had been said that the moon reflects the light of the sun.
I mean, yeah, we know what the globe says, man. It's okay, I could just sit here and say, yo, dude, sun is illuminating the moon. That's, now what?
It was just about the point of Geo telling it was since the heliocentrism. No, heliocentrism is Galilei, Copernicus, and all the team in 1600. No, the moon reflecting the light of the sun, it's way before, some millennia.
Okay, but so you're saying in a geocentric globe viewpoint, they
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
In geocentric, it was working for them. The Greek, Aristotle, and all the other one, Pythagore, Rheas, and others, they were geocentric.
I understand. Yeah, I guess I just said heliocentric, but I hear what you're saying. I mean, at least in the history we're told, if any of that is even true, but I mean, it's a long time ago and the winners of the war write the history, but leaving that whole topic aside, I mean, there's so much corruption in the world. I don't have any reason to just believe these historical claims, especially about these kind of single figures, these guys, Aristotle, I mean, anyways, that's a whole other topic of whether history is valid or not. But But yeah, I hear what you're saying. I suppose in that, like the Ptolemaic systems, you're saying, and other forms of geocentrism. Yeah, I hear you. I guess I just said heliocentrism, but at least what we're told in the history, like I'm glad to, I guess, hear what you're saying and generally agree that at least with the history that we're told that would also be the case in geocentrism or certain forms of globe geocentrism.
This is pretty wild, but like, what is it? It's midnight here in Australia, and the moon's like lit up on the wrong side. I'm trying to take a photo of it, but my phone's not good enough.
In China, I cannot take a picture. It's snowy now, so I see shit.
Yeah, there was some video of a Selenelian eclipse where it looked like the shadow was on the top of the moon when it should have been illuminating the bottom, because you could see the sun, you know, like 180 degrees away on the other side.
Like, so the moon is on my east, the sun sets to the west, obviously. It's midnight here, but the moon is lit up on the right-hand side. It's lit up on the eastern side.
You mean south side from you? The south side of the moon is lighted.
Yeah, the southern side, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, they never even really proved that it's a ball. I mean, you only seen one side. You literally have only seen the disk of the moon. Like everybody sees the disk of the moon, no matter where you are. That's actually really weird. That for like thousands of years, the image of the moon is the same.
Well,
for everyone on Earth.
If the moon wasn't a sphere,
for
then it
thousands of years.
Yeah, but if the moon wasn't a sphere, it wouldn't look circular to everyone. It looked like an ellipse. So.
But you would think that you could, like, you know, see more than just the disk of the moon if it wasn't just the disk.
I mean, we do. We literally do. I photographed it myself. Like.
So you saw another side of the moon?
Yeah, you see about 56, 58% of the moon's surface because it sort of gyrates.
All right, all right. So you're claiming that you've seen details of the moon that aren't in other people's images of the moon?
No, but it has to be a sphere because no matter where the moon is, it makes a circle. That can only happen if you're looking at a sphere.
I don't necessarily.
I don't know what you're talking about.
If it was a circle, it would look like an ellipse to most people. It would only look like a circle to people directly below it. It wouldn't always look like a circle. The only way that can happen, no matter where you are, no matter the time of the day or the year, is if it is a sphere.
Well, I wouldn't agree with that. There's other. It could be a hologram, essentially. I know people want to chuckle at that, but I'm just saying, or they often do, because. But nonetheless, like I mean, it actually could be a luminous holographic. I mean, it's light, and I mean, holograms have to do with the interference of light patterns. So I do hear what you're saying. I mean, the idea that it's like a flat circle, is that what you're trying to say? That as it goes away from you, if it was a flat circle, like stuck to a ceiling, it would start to look like skewed, which it actually kind of does. It actually does. The moon. I'm not saying it is a flat circle on the ceiling, but there are all kinds of refractive and kind of skewing effects. But I do hear generally what you're saying. But I'm just saying but what you're saying about it, seeing the face of it like that, I hear why you're saying it's related to that. But I just don't think it's the only thing it could be. Would be a sphere. It could be a holographic projection, or it could be. I'm just saying it doesn't have to necessarily be a physical ball. But by the way, the thing about it's called lunar libration. I think I might have an animation of it that shows like the time lapse of how you can see like slightly different facets of the moon, and it does kind of. I mean, it could be like a hemisphere, you know, as well. But the lunar libration does show like that you see a little bit more than 50% of it at different times. So that does kind of have a spherical quality to it. Again, to me, it doesn't really prove that it's a physical like ball up there, but it does seem to have those features to it.
Yeah, but you know, we're talking about like textures of a spherical surface, like revealing new craters, you know, new shadows and stuff like that. Libration is really like I think the moon is oscillating, just like the sun appears to do. That doesn't mean that you're actually seeing the other side of it, depending on your location. Because then, like you know, put the moon at 45 degrees for two observers, like fucking however far apart they need to be for them to be looking in opposite directions. They're looking at the same image. Like you're talking about an instance where you're seeing more of the moon than someone else, like. What are you saying, Rocket Man?
I'm not saying more than someone else, but yeah, if you get two observers in two places, they'll. I mean, the libration, like Geo correctly called it, is what you see over like many days, if not like a month. But just getting two observers, they wouldn't. If the moon wasn't spherical, they would appear a different shape. But I mean, we can bounce radar off the moon anyway, so unless you can demonstrate we can bounce radar off a hologram, then it's kind of.
You guys claim you can reflect and refract your radio waves off of plasma, so I don't really care about that.
I mean, not with the power of transmission that most people do these experiments with.
Yeah, whatever.
Actually, we had a whole big convo. I was not really involved in it. I was listening, but we were talking about whether radar can, and these even lasers as well, can bounce off of plasma. And you know, somebody was saying it can't be done, and then people found a bunch of papers and things that it can. So so
it can be done. That's how we get the measurement to the sun, but it requires a lot of power and a very high gain receiver. But with the moon, we don't need that much power because it's not made of plasma. If it was, we need a much higher transmission power and a much high gain receiver.
And what you said about the vibration, it's like you're seeing like the illuminated edge. I don't know how much more they claim they can see, if it's like 51 or 52. It's a really small amount. It's like the tiniest pizza slice ever. And the edge of the moon is illuminated. So really you're just seeing like, what? It's just white light. Like, how do you know you're really seeing another side of the sphere? You know, are you making out details?
No, I know what you mean. Well, it's sort of like let's say the very like left side of the moon, I'm just saying left, but like one side of it, you know, at a certain time you wouldn't see that. But then when you do a time lapse, you know, that little bit of it you will see or whatever, it's kind of revealed. But I know what you mean. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're seeing more of a ball, but it does kind of function like that though. It does sort of look, you know what I mean? Like if you've seen the animation of it, like it does kind of look like it's revealing more of a ball. Like if you had a basketball and you kind of tilted it in slightly different positions, you know, you would see like a little bit more of it or a little bit less of it. So it does kind of have that appearance to it in that way.
All right, well, I want to see whatever animation.
I think Bendy Space posted one at 8 minutes after. He posted one of the time lapses. I mean, I know they claim they went up there and landed man on the moon. They're claiming to fly around it. I mean, everyone can decide whether they think that's true or not. None of us can validate that anyways. But like a what is the moon question? I'm not sure we'll know that until after we die, you know, or if you have some kind of out of body or mystical experience, like in a physical body, unless you think you're going to get in a spacecraft and go to the moon or somehow be able to verify it. And yeah, you can shoot things at it, but it's a deep mystery. And if folks just believe that it is what the heliocentric model claims, they're free to think that. But the question is that the truth? And if someone's seeking truth, you know, just to align with like what the mainstream model is for whatever reason, if it's not true, then it's not really useful in the journey of knowing what the truth is or coming to truth, even though it may be the thing that's kind of promulgated and the thing that people, you know, are going with. But
do you think the ancients knew the truth?
That's a big question, because like which ancients? But I think
the ones that talked about like, you know, the spheres, be like, you know, the soul actually makes the spheres. Consciousness is responsible for the heavens.
Well, I think a lot of the different ancients were very tapped into things that are probably way beyond what even people in our culture now. Although we have things now that, you know, that's debatable whether, you know, like, do we have spectroscopy now, but they didn't have it then? Obviously, the mainstream history would tell us that, but is that even the case? But we could say in modern times we may have some things that they didn't, but if we just go off the mainstream history models. But then were they, you know, tapped into? And I know that people don't always like to go to this whole realm, but like, you know, the whole out of body experiences, and I know that that's not always viewed as like the most like materialistic, scientific kind of way to access things, but I mean, dude, I can only imagine what they were doing in those pyramids. Like they were probably launching out of their bodies and going to the celestials and channeling knowledge and information.
Yeah, I want to entertain this idea with you. Okay, so I only got a couple more minutes too. So in this book, The Universal One by Walter Russell, it kind of hints at the idea that the planets are what causes consciousness, and consciousness causes the planets. So you got to think like where we perceive the sun to be, like, was that manifested? Like, was it humanity that wanted it to be that way? And that's how the ancients perceived like the development of consciousness, like the source, like looking towards God. All humanity looked in the same direction, you know, for all of history, towards God, which was the sun. And then the planets formed. It was like, you know, over time, like things started to materialize over the sun, like us, like I'm trying to describe this fucking crazy idea, but like, you know how like every moment is fleeting. So like I just saw, like, you know, I hold up a 4, like I'm holding up the number 4 on my hand. I got 4 fingers up. That moment is gone. Like it's literally, I'm never going to see it again. So like things are like materializing and layering over the sun and like becoming physical. And like where consciousness perceived the planets, like became physical over time, like as an amalgamation of everybody's perceiving of it. That's what's being alluded to by the ancients. Like that's what they're literally trying to tell you. They're like, where you perceive the sun, that's because everybody wanted the sun to be in that position. But it's like a weird backwards way to look at it all, because everybody wants to say like, you know, rocks slammed together and then made the mind. Or, you know, literally that's backwards. They inverted it because they're Kabbalistic heretics. They fucked it all up. It's literally mind made matter. Mind made the sun. It's literally the other way around. That's what all these books are trying to tell you.
Yeah, man. No, that's definitely very interesting. And then there's the whole like just like the alchemy of the sky and the soul and our you know, our souls, and there's so many layers to that, which yeah, I mean, that would maybe be for another time to like get into a whole discussion on it, because I mean, you have like, first of all, you have astrology, which I know that the mainstream tries to deny its existence, but you have these like alchemical motions of these luminaries that seem to be directly connected to nature and human consciousness. Like even if we just take like Mars is connected to like aggression and assertiveness and so on. So how Mars is aligning in the sky, you know, seems to be related to people's aggressiveness basically. So there's like this direct connection between, you know, the luminaries' positions and human life, which means there's some component to like just nature in general that's related to our human experience and even nature as well. So there's that whole component. And then just the idea that like souls or stars are souls, like that idea too, that like are the stars like, do we turn into stars after we die? Do we go to the stars after we die? Like the whole idea of the heavens, there's all those kind of concepts as well. And then even just the idea of like, if we're like down on the physical corporeal plane, where did we come from? Now, some people would just say, well, you're just born in your physical body and that's all you are. But if you view it from a perspective of like that you have a soul and like there's a spirit world and that you have an existence before you came into this life and an existence after, then it brings in the whole question of like, then what is the sky relation to that interface between, the beyond, as it were, and then the physical plane? Again, like a materialist wouldn't really see any of that as valid, but yeah, it just made me think of all those things. And then that's pretty interesting that like, yeah, instead of the celestial bodies preceding us, like we actually,
dude, you're on point right now. I'm not trying to cut you off. I'm telling you, you're on point.
It's like we manifested them with our beinghood. That's pretty interesting.
Dude, that's the biggest thing. I meant to mention that the planets influence your emotions, and every day, like the Christ consciousness, like everybody talks about religion in here. I'm not trying to make it about that. I'm just trying to say, every day the sun rises, you're supposed to resist the influence of the planets. Like they talk about Mars retrograde every time. Like you ever been at work? Like if you work with like a lot of people, there's always those days where it's like, wow, everybody's acting weird. It must be because like Mars is. There's always that weird joke, that elephant in the room. Mars is in retrograde. That's why everybody's acting weird at work today. And it's literally true. Like as the sun rises, you're supposed to resist all the temptations coming from the spheres of influence, and then the sun sets, and that's how the chemical rises up in your spine. And it's supposed to be pure. Once you sin and you're tainting that chemical, you didn't achieve Christ consciousness. And that's pretty much it, man. The planets make the soul makes the planets. And when you're looking at the moon, I don't think you're looking at a rock. That's fucking ridiculous, because it's always been a symbol and the embodiment of reflection. It's like way more than just a rock. It's all about our spirit. It has everything to do with like why we're here.
Geo, you bring astrology. Astrology is a flat model or a globe model?
Well, I responded to you in text, but I mean, it works on both. I mean, because it has to do with the geometric angles and relationships between these luminaries. So whether you extrapolate it into a heliocentric globe or whether you see it as a field above a flat Earth, it's the same in terms of the because the way they treat astrology, even on the globe model, is that like you are at the like where you were born is the center of all of the angles. Like the minute you were born, Mars is over here, Jupiter, the sun, the moon, they're all in a angular relationship from where you were born. So whether it's extrapolated on a heliocentric globe or even a geocentric globe or on a flat Earth, the angles are all still the same. So whether you use a heliocentric or geocentric, flat or globe, it's all equivalent in terms of the positions. Obviously, there's different implications though on the heliocentric if those things are huge spheres out, huge physical spheres. That's different in terms of like that idea of what they are, but astrologically they are equivalent, in terms of their angles.
I say that because I remember it was one guy who tried to answer the Celestial Navigation Challenge of MC Toon, and he was using astrological software. But when you dig in a software, this software was using the globe to make the position of the star and all. So that's why I ask if it's fundamentally astrology, how it is done.
You can just use an azimuthal. You can just use an azimuthal with distant projection locally anywhere you want, and have a dome due to perspective. That's all you got to do. That's what an astrolabe was. Astrolabes were designed presuming a flat Earth at first for thousands of years. You have to admit that.
No, you have what is his name? Al-Biruni. Al-Biruni was using a sextant, and no, it was a globe. It is not made for a globe. It's just an instrument to measure elevation.
A sextant doesn't make anything a globe. What are you talking
about? No, I said astrolabe. Perhaps I misspoke. An astrolabe.
Oh, no. Yeah, there could have been guys that came up with astrolabes that use a globe. That's fine. I'm talking about the ones that didn't. I don't know what happened today. I didn't get cut off by Tara or Jeremy. I'm very grateful. All right, I gotta go with you guys.
So, Joe, to simplify, not simplify, resume. Does astrology is using the geocentric, the planet far away, or it's using the planet close? Because the question I never get an answer is where are the planets on flat Earth? We know grosso modo where is the sun, grosso modo where is the moon, but where are the planets? If they are on the firmament or not?
Well, so there's the zodiac. We basically the stars, the fixed stars. So you have they refer to the 12 signs, which are essentially the 12 star constellations, which is really just taking the sky and splitting it up into 12 30-degree sections of the fixed stars. So once you have those 12 30-degree sections, and then you have the Tropic of Cancer, the Equator, and the Tropic of Capricorn, and the sun obviously moves through the zodiac once a year. So if right now, like on the equinox, the sun, that's why they call it the age of Aquarius, because of the precession of the equinoxes. But let's say if you're going to start it there, or if you want, you can start it on January 1st, obviously first of the year in this current Gregorian calendar. But anyways, but if you just have like the path of the sun So, okay, basically the sun is moving slightly slower than the fixed stars. So the stars are the sidereal day, 23 hours, 56 minutes, and the sun is 24 hours. So that means the sun is slowly losing pace on the fixed stars. Therefore, it progresses through the fixed star constellations, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, etc. Each 30 degrees, it's going to move through those. While it's losing pace on the fixed stars, it's also moving between the tropics. And it takes 1 year for it to move between the tropics to ping back and forth in a whole, 365 days. And it also takes 1 year for the sun to come back to its position in relation to the fixed stars. So if we just want to say it starts at, Aries, 0 degrees of Aries, it's going to go 1 degrees of Aries, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 30. And then through Taurus, through Gemini, it's going to go through all of the signs throughout the year. And then it's going to be back at 0 degrees Aries 365 days later. So the sun does that. The moon does it once a month. And then what they call the planets do it in all of their different cycles. So without even applying a model to it, I'm just describing like what they do. So like Mercury also loses, is going slower than the fixed stars. Mars, etc. They're all doing that. And then they're all moving between the tropics as well. So, Saturn takes 29.5 years. So it takes Saturn 29.5 years to go from 0 Aries all the way through, going slower than the fixed stars to get back to 0 Aries. And it also takes 29.5 years for Saturn to go from the Tropic of Cancer to the equator to the Tropic of Capricorn and then back to the Tropic of Cancer. It takes 29.5 years. So basically all of those like wandering stars, or what they call the planets, are all moving in in a similar way to the sun and the moon, but in their different cycles. So when it comes to the astrological, what's being looked at is the angles and the angles between them. So, if Saturn, like right now we have a Saturn-Neptune conjunction, which means Saturn and Neptune are right next to each other in the sky, sort of like a new moon. And it's actually a very long cycle. We're in it for several years. We're in the midst of it right now. So those two are aligned. They're, very close in the sky in a very similar position, or very close degree-wise in the same constellation. So that is happening no matter what model. So if you have a globe model that's heliocentric, they're going to describe it as the planets are way out there as spheres. But you have the celestial sphere and therefore the zodiac because of the fixed stars. And then Saturn is going to be in a position in relation to the fixed stars. So it's equivalent if you view it from a heliocentric. If you are going to view it from a planar or flat Earth type viewpoint, that's a whole question of how the sky works on that. But either way, you still have the fixed stars on a planar Earth, and you still have, the position of Saturn and so on. You have the actual positions of the wandering stars, the planets as it were, as well. So it is a good question of like how exactly it would all work on a planar Earth in terms of how it's all laid out. But it's equivalent in the fact that you have the tropics, the angles between them, and whether you view those things as just above a planar Earth or whether you view them as, thousands of miles out in the solar system, geometrically and angularly, they're actually the same. So like astrologers, even modern day, they actually use geocentric charts. Even though they believe the Earth's a globe, they use a geocentric chart because the person was born on the Earth. And even if they think it's a globe, it's centered on the person. And whether they think it's the planets that are way out there in space, or whether they're above a flat Earth, they're still making the same angular relationships to each other.
Okay. I understand that. But I was more interested by, for example, the transit of Venus, when Venus is passing in front of the sun.
Yeah. Well.
So that means that this object, whatever it is between the sun and the observer. So that means it will be some a rock, something that will be very, very smaller than the sun. And that will be, depend which flat Earth model, but it will be 3,000, 5,000 miles high. And in this vicinity, it will be Venus.
It also has phases, as you know. So yeah, Mercury and Venus, they stay close to the sun in their position, meaning that like Mercury only gets about 21 degrees away from the sun and Venus gets about 45. So Venus will go 45 degrees in front, let's say lagging behind the sun, 45 degrees from the sun is the furthest it gets. And then it'll go retrograde and it'll pass, like a new moon, it'll pass, like you're talking about a transit, and then it'll go to the other side, 45 degrees, and then it'll retrograde back, it keeps retrograding and pinging back and forth. Now and the only ones that do that are Mercury and Venus. Now, I don't think we live in a heliocentric solar system, but that is why, in my viewpoint, they had to put Mercury and Venus between the Earth and the sun, the third rock from the sun. The reason that, in my viewpoint, that they had to make it the third rock from the sun is partly because they, I think, kind of reverse engineered it or kind of extrapolated their model from what actually does exist. And since Mercury and Venus, stay close to the sun, kind of pinging back and forth, they kind of, I call it like phasing. They kind of phase, in front of the sun, behind. And when I say in front, I'm saying, ahead of the zodiac or behind in the zodiac. So in the fixed stars, I don't really mean behind and in front in terms of, physically going behind a ball. I'm just saying, going, let's say the sun is at 15 degrees Gemini, Mercury, Venus might be 25 degrees Gemini, and then another time it'll be 5 degrees Gemini. So it'll be 5 degrees, the sun's at 15, another time Venus will be 25. The sun is still at 15 in this example, and then other times the Venus is back at 5. So it kind of, it goes in front and behind in terms of the progression through the zodiac, which is called direct motion versus retrograde motion, or the two motions, direct and retrograde, and that's how it pings back and forth. Now the transit, I'm not necessarily convinced that is a rock transiting in front of the moon, in front of the sun. One, again, just kind of a speculation that it could be, is a polarization effect. So whatever Venus is, it could actually be polarizing the light of the sun, and therefore causing that black dot that we see on it. So I'm just saying it's another interpretation. Like instead of the idea that it's a ball that's actually going around it, it could actually be something that is interacting with it, sort of like what happens during eclipses. But in this case, it's Venus and the sun instead of the sun and the moon. So that's another idea, is that it could actually be causing a polarization and therefore causing that little, black dot that we see during the Venus transit of the sun.
But Joe, you must recognize that the heliocentric model, to explain all the phase of Venus, the transit, all the planet movement, it is more simple. And by simple, I don't mean easy to calculate. I mean, in a principle, it is really more simple that all the assumption and the hypothesis you have to put forward to make it plausible on flat Earth.
I don't know that I agree that it's simpler per se, but I do understand where you're coming from. I mean, I kind of think the conundrum we're in right now, so hypothetically, if the Earth were a sphere, then it would just be the sphere, and that would be it, right? That would just, and the current model would be correct. But from the perspective that it's not a sphere, then we're in a position where there's this like massive explanations that are given for the globe model. But if it's false, then it's false. So it doesn't really matter if it seems more simple to someone, or that there's a subjective view. If it's false, it just isn't the truth. And if one wants to get to the truth, then the journey continues, kind of thing. And that's up to each person to decide. But I do understand what you're saying, because I was thinking about this earlier. I'll try not to be long-winded. I'll just say briefly just that, the globe has sort of everything laid out. It's right there. There's these explanations. Obviously, many of us think there's a lot of issues with it, but nonetheless, it's there. Whereas from a stationary planar Earth perspective, yeah, there's a lot of things that we don't have all of the answers on. And I think with money and funding and more research, we can discover a lot more for sure. But I mean, the sky is one of the most difficult things to fully, understand. But I just don't necessarily think it's simpler, the heliocentric model, because you have gravity and you have these light years and you have the massive distances and how it all formed and then just like the physics of it. And I think there's a good amount of complexity. I mean, if you went back in ancient times to talk to people who had a flat Earth viewpoint and told them about this heliocentric model, they would probably think the opposite. They would probably think, oh my gosh, that is excessively complex and unrealistic, to think that the heliocentric model is true. Even though now we're kind of born with it and we think it's kind of just the way it is, but if you went back then, they might see it the opposite. They might see, the heliocentric theories as being even more improbable or complex or unrealistic, so it could be somewhat subjective in terms of the simplicity.
I agree. Aristarchus of Samos? He was one of the first one to put the heliocentric model, 400 BC, something like that. He was laughed out also. You have Galilei, who will tell that the Earth was turning. He was also laughed out and get what is the name in English? Get to justice. He was tried for that. So it was not the easy way also for the globe. And if you continue with that, to make a simple illustration, Galilei used a telescope. Was the first one to use a telescope. He stole it from the Dutch, but he was the first one to use a telescope to make his observation of the sun and the moon. So it would be why Galilei was able to do it with just a telescope, why flat earthers now, with all the telescopes that are available, that are better than what Galilei have, they are not able to make observation and build a kind of a comprehensive model of the sky.
Well, I think I followed most of what you said there. Well, it's all interpretation of the observations of what the sky is at the end of the day. I mean, no matter what your cosmology is, we can all look at the same sky, excluding any type of computer graphics or anything like that, but actual observations. It's just a matter of what you're actually looking at. We can see these luminous objects and how they move. I mean, I heavily question these characters that were given, like Galileo. I'm not trying to get into did he exist or not. That's a whole question, but but there's just somebody that's kind of sold to us as a figure. But anyways, that's kind of a separate thing of where that really came from, and was he really that famous, that he had a special way of thinking about it? I mean, there are the theories that he's put forth, but it's really like a philosophy about the sky at the end of the day, is what it ends up being, so, I mean, you have a planetarium. Planetarium represents all of the objects in the sky, and you don't need a curved ground to replicate what the sky looks like. So I'm not saying the sky is a planetarium, but I know what you mean though about having a full complete model. I mean, we would have to, if you're talking about like, we'd have to map the whole Earth independently, measure whether water's curving maybe first, and then map the Earth, and then map the sky to the Earth. I know the globe model already claims to do that, but I'm saying if we did that independently, then we would have the right map and the right sky relations. But I mean, unless we can go to the sky and get a sample or touch it or anything, I mean, we're still just left to the observations, and there's definitely models that could be put together. I mean, there's many models before the globe came along, that have been had throughout the time, but we're kind of in this era now where a lot of that's been kind of relegated to the past, and we're kind of having to rediscover a lot of these facets. So, I mean, who knows where we'll be in 10 or 20 years in terms of what you're referring to. Because I mean, in my view, like you would have to consider too. I mean, if we're right that the Earth isn't a globe, then it's like we're all kind of beginners and actually figuring out what really is going on. So we're gonna have to kind of reinvent the wheel, as it were, and kind of go back and figure out what the ancients had, and then perhaps put together a more of a unified model or something in the modern era. I mean, you would agree with that, right? I mean, if the Earth's not a globe, then it's like it's up to all of us to figure it out, right? It's not like just somebody who thinks the Earth is flat has to solve it all tomorrow. It's like we're all in this together.
Yes, I agree with that, but I still do not understand why flat earthers are not applying themselves to do that, to have their to make their observation of the sky and trying to build something. Because you're all the time asking Glober to prove all their claim, to do the demonstration, to do the experiment, to do everything. But after, for flat earther, if we start for the first one, like, comment il s'appelait, Robosam, Parallax, that you have made this experiment, but also people have redone the experiment and it is not working. So, okay, we can continue. So perhaps what you said is just you are missing time, money, and people to do it.
Yeah, it all takes time, money, energy, people together to do it. Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but most people are, working jobs and busy and family and all of that, and this kind of research is not necessarily sanctioned for people, financially. Like you can't necessarily just go get a degree in, planar Earth cosmology and then, be funded by wealthy financiers to do this. Now you get these guys like Cavendish and some of these guys that were claimed to be funded by wealthy ones. So there's that whole question of why these wealthy people were financing those guys and what that was about. But a lot of these astronomers, Jesuit astronomers, were heavily funded. They didn't have to work a 9-to-5 job. A lot of those guys, they were being funded by, the royalty and the Royal Astronomical Society and all these factors. So I hear what you're saying, that maybe you would like more to be done, but I think it's just a matter of funding and resources. If there was the funding was there, I think there's a lot of people that would like to spend more and more time on it, maybe even their full time or their whole life, dedicated to it. So I hear what you're saying. It is kind of underfunded and, with all of the tensions of its implications as well. So I do understand what you're saying. And there's no reason that somebody couldn't try to put together a model, but just think about how limited we are to being able to map the whole Earth. And there's just a lot of hurdles, I think, to be able to fully do that right now for people.
Yes, but you must also understand that the technology that they have in a few centuries ago is not the same that we have right now. It will be not so expensive to get better tools that they even have before.
Right. No, I understand. But just think about all the blockages and limitations. Like, there's these plant medicines like, ayahuasca, peyote, magic mushrooms. And it's like, these are ancient tools that have been used for eons of time. But in the modern era, I'm just using this as an example. In the modern era, some of these governments have made them illegal. You can't even legally research them. There's a lack of funding. You have to raise the funds independently to research these things, and you have to try to get clearance from these government agencies. And you have to battle big pharma and all of the psychiatric pharmaceutical drug companies that want you to use their drugs. So it's just an example of a lot of the hurdles. Now with the shape of the Earth, you have all of the. It's not quite the same as these plant medicines I'm mentioning. Obviously, with the shape of the Earth and the cosmology, you have. The lack of funding is obviously a thing. You have a tremendous amount of resistance from the scientific world, which means you're going to probably have to fund it yourself. You're not going to be able to just go to a university and just get simple funding. I mean, there are more things that are being allowed in universities, but it seems like flat Earth is probably not one of them. That's going to be able to be kind of even accepted to a degree. So it's tough. Yeah, I just think there's a lot of challenges, and there's a lot that would need to be done. We need to do interferometry tests and gyroscopes tests, and water measurement tests, and do more mapping, exploring high altitude. And then more understanding of how the sky works it's like rediscovering what the Earth is, or discovering what the Earth is would then relate to putting the pieces together of how the sky relates. But I hear where you're coming from, and yeah, it's understandable, but it may just be a process and take time, because I think this is something that's the implications are so far reaching that the whole world would change. So if somebody had a perfect model right now of a flat Earth with the sky and everything, and they started really promulgating it and they had proof for it, the whole world is going to change. It's not just like, somebody has a model of astrology or a model of these plant medicines. I mean, with the flat Earth thing, the whole world, the education system, the politics, I mean, it just goes, you see what I'm saying? So there may be a timing to it on the larger kind of cyclical nature of it.
But I don't think you need to have to present a complete model. You just have to get an evidence that the Earth is flat. And after you can pile off that. But when you will have irrefutable evidence that the Earth is flat and not a globe, everything will come together, because if people realize they have been lied on, you will got support. But for the moment, I never saw any irrefutable evidence that the Earth is flat and not a globe.
Yeah,
so
Well, I understand and respect your viewpoint on that. I think that's a question. Is there enough irrefutable evidence right now that we could change the whole paradigm? That's a question. Maybe some think there is, but I think there's a lot more that needs to be done. So I agree with you on that. And yeah, potentially you would get a lot of support if you're able to prove that, and then people would know, that there's something to this and that they would want to research it more. But you see what I mean about, I'm not saying all of society would just totally fracture, but I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily have to be fractured. It can be a good thing. I mean, I think truth sets you free, but this is a, obviously, as you've considered, it's a huge deception, probably bigger than any other one. I mean, yeah, you've got the big pharma, you've got, the media, the politics, there's a lot of other lies out there, but the earth is, it's being taught in schools and it's integrated into the governments and the militaries and the GPS systems and the satellites, and is so far reaching. So I hear what you're saying though, but how that transition would happen. But yeah, I agree. I mean, if there's like tangible, definitive, irrefutable proof, like you're saying, then that would be what would be needed to really, actually start a paradigm shift. Whereas right now we're kind of in like pre-paradigm shift mode right now. The cycle we're in right now is kind of a, if we're right, I'm just saying if, just being neutral, if that the earth isn't a sphere, then we would just be in like the preamble right now. Like we haven't even hit our stride yet, in terms of, like you said, having irrefutable proof, and then what would come after that, the state of the world, the politics, the government, the control system. It's a lot to consider. So I'm just suggesting there might be a timing to it where, it may just not quite be time right now, but who knows, maybe in 5-10 years, there will be a model that you'll be satisfied with potentially, and others will too.
So my position. I don't follow the government. I take what the media said with a very, very critical mind. So I say government, media, big pharma. Big pharma, yes, that also is difficult. It's not something I follow blindly because they have the money behind that they want to make. So all that, I agree. I don't believe it. I'm on the same point of view with you. Voilà, easy to say it. But come on, for science is not the subject. Science, it is objective. It is not subjective, like politic, like opinion in media, politic in government, opinion in media, and image for the big pharma. So to move the science, you will need, as you said, the irrefutable, as I said, the putain, I cannot speak tonight. The irrefutable proof.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, to have a paradigm shift. So that's usually how paradigm shifts happen, where you have a certain paradigm that has certain like tenets to it, certain foundations, certain things that are taken as foundational in that paradigm. And then usually that paradigm goes along for, quite some time, in its kind of functioning stage. And then when a paradigm shift starts to occur, there's evidences that start to challenge the current paradigm, new evidences that don't fit with the current paradigm. Then there's like a stage of kind of instability where there's research and things that are coming through that need to be looked at. Now they claim that this is what happened when they claim they discovered it was a globe. They claim that they went through a whole worldwide paradigm shift where everybody was, discovering that the earth was a sphere and that we're not on a flat stationary earth. So it's claimed that we went through that. Now, is that genuine? And is that something that is a real true paradigm shift? Because what we're talking about now is a paradigm shift that, goes the other way, that the earth isn't a sphere. So then that would imply that the paradigm shift they claim we already went through was inauthentic or not genuine. But yeah, and then once the new evidences challenge the paradigm, then it takes time and there's, potential turmoil and so on, that occurs until some kind of new form can take place or some kind of new, with the new evidences. So like you're saying, yeah, and you do need like very solid proof. I don't think they have that for the globe. I know some do, but I mean, they claim that they, well, sticks in the ground, Cavendish balls, boats over the curve. Those are all, I don't think, very definitive at all, but without trying to go into those in particular, but I'm just saying, but then you also have, in the modern day, they're going to claim, pictures from space and satellites and all these other factors that they're going to space. Obviously, they're claiming they do have irrefutable, well, they claim they're going to space and the Earth's a sphere. So, they obviously claim that they have that. But yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's going to have to take very, very strong, definitive, probably tangible as well, like not just theoretical or optical, but something tangible, tangible tests. And then even if you have those, to even present it to the world and even initiate some, more awareness or even a potential paradigm shift would be quite a task, that may take a decade or two to really all play out.
So Gio, do you acknowledge that doesn't exist?
For a planar stationary Earth?
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a lot of evidences currently. I mean, you have like interferometry. Obviously, there's long distance observations, plane surveying. I don't think there's any evidence the Earth is in motion, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I do think there's some, but in the totality of what could be, yeah, we may only have like, I don't know if I had to throw a number, like maybe 5 or 10% of what's really, will really be needed to shift the whole paradigm. So yeah, I mean, I agree to it because I think we need to do it. That's the thing. Like we need to actually do these tests ourselves. Whether it's a community, a group, however, in the coming days. So yeah, I certainly think it's lacking because I have passion and motivation to want to actually carry these things out. So yeah, certainly I think it's not, as complete as it could be or as is needed. So yeah, there's a lot of missing pieces, but there's still a lot of good evidences, but probably not enough right now to shift the whole paradigm.
Yeah, I like that. I love that about you, Gio. I respect it. I know other people criticize you for it, but no, I love you for that. I mean, you're one of the only people after the Antarctica thing. You're one of the only people that said, okay, well, this specific idea of what people think flat Earth is, that's gone, that's dead, that's out the window. You were one of the only people that did that. One of the only significant voices in this community that did that, and I love that. I respect that.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. Although, I mean, I wouldn't say I completely. I mean, I may have some of my opinions about it, but I wouldn't really say it's. I mean, I haven't mapped the whole Earth, So I mean, there's still. I mean, could it be the AE map layout? I mean, I haven't mapped the whole Earth, so I wouldn't say I necessarily said it was like completely dead and out. But yeah, I mean, in some of my like considerations of it, I mean, I do think the thing is that the AE map already has the problems with the southern stars and the stars at the equator. So like in terms of how it links to the sky, it already has those issues, and it's had those for years, even before TFE. And then, I don't really think TFE like. For me, it didn't change that much that there's a 24-hour sun there because there was already all the evidences before. I mean, I told you I even found that 24-hour sun footage from Union Glacier before they even took the trip. But at the same time, it was helpful that they went, and people that we have some they were live streaming from there, and Witsit was on here in the server while he was there. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's a lot of things that it was good to have that to kind of assist in that. But I'm just saying for me, it wasn't totally like, oh, I thought the AE was viable, and then TFE, and then I said, no, it's dead. Like, I know Jaren did that, but I'm just saying that wasn't quite. I always was questionable about the AE map. There was a bunch of things that were unresolved on it, even though, yeah, I mean, we talked about it, and I mean, I've considered it, obviously, but I've always talked about, like, you'd have to prove that there's greater distances between the southern continents and, and all these factors to really validate it.
Well, yeah, I meant specifically the idea of one sun circling Polaris in a concentric circle style, like a dartboard, if you don't understand that. In that idea, that is gone. That has to be gone.
I mean, I would say for myself that I never necessarily thought that was the Earth, like for sure, but I did consider it more in the past than I do now. Yeah, and I'm not saying it's just TFE shifting that, but I think just the kind of my own evolution in all this as well. Because I mean, I feel like even like a year before TFE, I was more off of the AE map. Not that I was ever really on it, but you know what I'm saying, just because of those unresolved issues, and it's like, and just as more discussions and so on. So yeah, no, I do hear what you're saying. I mean, the viability of that has always kind of had issues, but I think for a lot of people, it obviously kind of boiled up more to the surface. I mean, some people went harder on the AE map and said they faked the trip. Other people are more considering, other options. Obviously, there's the dual pole discussions, which I don't think in any way is like solved or resolved either. So that's kind of the tough position we're in right now, is that, from the perspective that the Earth isn't a globe, like we don't really have the pieces together yet, So yeah.
Yeah, I often say that I think I was a little bit lazy in the well, I don't know, maybe I'm being harsh on myself, but I saw the 24-hour sun there and I was like, okay, well, just in my head, it just made sense on a globe and it didn't make sense any other way. That doesn't mean necessarily that it is that way. I was just going to mention my brother who sort of seemingly doubled down on flat Earth, right? Like for me, it was like the final nail in the coffin. It was like, oh, okay, it's probably a globe, right? But for my brother, oh my God, he doubled down somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, it seems to capture people's imagination, this flat Earth situation. It really does.
You mean he doubled down with the Gleason's AE map, or just doubled down?
No, he just in general, just flat Earth generally. Like he's hardcore flat Earther. He should be here, not me, really.
That's interesting that you went the other way and he went the other way. That's funny.
Well, I think the difference is with a lot of the globe people or proponents that come in here, I am open to ideas. I just haven't seen any good ones, right? I've seen the ones put forward. I've seen people try and make models and how this 24-hour sun observation in the south could possibly work. None of them make sense to me at all.
No, dude, I mean, I agree with you. Like, I mean, just me being candid right now, like, okay, the globe, I think, has a lot of issues. I don't think there's curvature. I don't think there's motion. I don't think it's a globe. Like, just also spiritually, I'm not saying any religion, but just like my being tapped into like what creation is and the nature of consciousness, like there's no part of me that resonates that we're on a globe. But I also have to be intellectually honest. I haven't mapped the whole Earth. I haven't modeled the whole thing myself. I haven't, been able to go to some extremely high altitudes. Like most of us have not been able to do those things. So I have to be honest that, I don't have all the answers. But even like, okay, so the globe is what it is. But obviously it's like, heavily questioned in our world today in a lot of ways, obviously, especially in the communities that are discussing it and so on. And it's like the globe earthers come to the globe folks come to the community of people talking about a planar flat Earth, to talk about it. So it's like they come to us kind of to discuss it. So it's like this is kind of where it's happening. I kind of joke sometimes. It's like even if I use the term flat Earth, it's like we're all on a flat Earth train, in different ways. It's like even if you're a globe earther, you're kind of on the flat Earth train because you're coming. You want to talk to flat earthers and about flat Earth. Of course, the globe comes up too. But I kind of joke about that. It's kind of like it's like a flat Earth train that we're all kind of on. So why is it that instead of being on a globe train? But anyways, but yeah. So I mean, I think the globe has all those issues. The AE map. I mean, dude, I wouldn't say it's completely ruled out in my mind. I mean, maybe the sky is working in some way that, I know some people think that it is an AE map or that type of layout, at least, with the continents coming out from the center. The thing is, Antarctica, I mean, from a lot, it does seem like Antarctica is a continent. I mean, I haven't been there, but from, just a lot of the flights, and it's tough to think it's a ring around the outside. It also does seem like there's a South Pole, again, I haven't been there, but so there's all those facets. So But I mean, maybe the sky is working in some wild way. Like, I wouldn't say I've completely thrown out the AE map. I mean, I have sort of vocalized that it seems to be really problematic with the sky, but I've talked about like if there was multiple GPs of the stars, it could, there's that factor. But anyway, so I mean, the AE map, I mean, to me, it's like a small possibility, but then the dual pole is cool with the sky. It's great with the sky, but then there's all these other questions it brings up, just distances. Like one simple one is any point on the Tropic of Capricorn where the sun goes when it's in the south, the whole circuit of the sun, for 6 months of the year, or when it gets to the Tropic of Capricorn, like at the winter solstice, on the globe, every distance from anywhere on the Tropic of Capricorn to the North Pole is equal distance. Imagine a ball with the Tropic of Capricorn and boom, anywhere on that Tropic of Capricorn, it's an equal distance to the North Pole. Well, if you put that on a dual pole, that is not an equal distance. You know what I mean? Because you got two circles on a plane, and the Tropic of Capricorn, think about the Tropic of Capricorn distance on the other side of Antarctica is way further from the North Pole than the side that's on that's on the Africa side or closer to the equator is a much closer distance. So that is like a huge issue. Now we'd have to maybe check those distances, make sure it is equal distance, unless we're being lied to about distances dramatically. But that's just one example. But there's a bunch of others with the dual pole. Like the sky would have to split, in some way. Like you would think like on the equator is a straight line on a planar Earth, and then this, you got the two rotations. Well, there would potentially be somewhere where the sky separates, and then you have like, I mean, there's the Pac-Man question, which wouldn't really think there is a Pac-Man effect, but I mean, there's these certain flights that would take that path, and I won't go on and on, but you know what I mean. I mean, there's a lot of questions. It does work really cool with the sky. I love how it matches an electric field pattern. Seems to make sense that the sky does have that electric field, and then if you have the two poles that are linked to two actual poles on the ground, I mean, they have cruises that go to the North Pole. We can all see Polaris. You can all see Sigma Octantis and the Southern Crux, and you can go, to Union Glacier or even to the 90 South. So it seems like there's two poles, and as long as there's one GP for all those stars, you got two rotations and two poles. So how else could it be laid out other than that dual pole type of map where you got your continents and your different, you know what I'm saying, North America, South America. But then there's all these issues with it. But then there's issues with the AE map and there's issues with the globe. So I mean, I'm just kind of being candid and honest that in my view, it's like it's and I know some people would say, oh, it's just a globe, it's just a globe. Well, if they're right, then but I don't think that's the case. So that's why we continue on. It's I mean, do you feel some of the same ways about some of those things like I'm saying, the issues with them, and you're just kind of going with the globe? I mean, you're not like totally satisfied with it, right? You're kind of just going with it for now.
Yeah, I can't say that, and I've said this many times. Whenever I'm shown images, quote unquote, they just don't look real to me. They just don't. Like, I don't know how you feel about that. I might have seen 1 in 1,000 where I've gone, okay, that looks kind of real. that's a bit of an issue, don't you think?
Oh, I'm totally with you on that for the globe, dude. I know. Even when I think to myself, like, okay, these guys think it's a globe, I'm going to really try to put myself in their shoes. And it's like, I totally hear you, dude. All the pictures, it's like, where's the real globe? Will the real globe please stand up? Like, where is it? I know what you mean. There's like 1 or 2 that look like, all right, that, I mean, I guess what is the blue marble one where they claim to 1972 coming back from the moon, they snapped the picture. That one's more realistic than some of the others, but I totally agree with that. Like, dude, even if we went out tomorrow and we measured curve and we went to space ourselves and we saw the Earth as a globe, I would still have the question you're bringing up. I'd be like, what is with all these pictures then? Why don't we just have hundreds or thousands of the real globe that are all consistent? I would almost, at that point, I'd be like, okay, so hypothetically, we proved it's a sphere. Why are all these pictures all jacked up of it? I totally know what you mean. That's a huge missing hole in my view. Just
it has occurred to me that there could be a security situation with it, right? It could be a security issue. I don't know, militarily or something.
That's interesting. You're saying that they're hiding the real one and kind of giving us just sort of the kind of like propagandized kind of like media version, and it's of fake ones because they're kind of keep trying to hide something, land or militaries. Yeah, that's an interesting angle. There's also that idea with space, that they're really going to space, but they're just showing us the fake crap because they're actually doing stuff they want to hide from us. It's kind of a theory people have said.
Yeah, I just overall, I prefer your approach to things than I do the 24/7 guys. Not that I hate the 24/7. No, that's the first server I went to, and there's a lot of people over there I still like and respect and like to listen to. But I just don't like the way they just shut people down. Like somebody comes in with a PhD in physics, I'm like, oh man, let's listen to this guy. Let's see if we can learn something, right? I don't like this attitude of let's just shut it down. Like QE just chops the legs off in 1 second and then that's it, they're done. They just he doesn't play with his food or something, right? And there's something a bit cultish about it.
Yeah, no, I do hear you. I mean, as you know, I was in 24/7 for years because back then it was really the only server. It was only that server, and then Gem Pandas came on a little later. And it was obviously Gem Pandas was kind of the globe spot, and the 24/7 was the flat Earth spot. And when I first popped in there, and then I kind of worked my way up to becoming a moderator, and then everything that kind of went down there. But yeah, dude, I mean, I guess I'll just say briefly, like that whole server to me was like, even when I was on it, it was always 50-50. Like part of it was what you're describing, the kind of like really hard pressing, and you had to kind of stick to these certain arguments, and you couldn't speculate, and then a lot of the show me the curvature or you're going to be banned in 5 seconds, 5, 4, 3, these dramatic, bannings and, all this stuff that went on there was wild. But then there was another part of it where we would just talk about all kinds of cool stuff, and it was more like we were like talking to new people and they would come in and talk about curvature and, debating the globe and stuff. And it was more of like a positive, reflective kind of podcast style. So yeah, it was always kind of 50-50. And then seems like as time went on, maybe they kind of went more towards the, I guess the former, if I set them in order like that, like you're saying, the way it is now, as far as I know. Although I'm not sure exactly what it's like now, but I haven't really listened to them.
Yeah, the last few times I've been over there, they tried to sort of pile up on me, as they tend to do. People get excited and they all want to sort of pile on. And I don't know, I just don't like it. I'm just like, what are we actually doing here? Are we just trying to win? are we trying to discern what's true, or are we just trying to win? What do you win, actually? Tell me what you win.
Yeah. Well, we used to it was kind of the idea of like waking people up, that we would like debate them or like try to, people call it flat smacking kind of thing. Like we'd be kind of like telling them about the earth and all that, the curvature and the lack of motion. And so it was kind of that kind of style, but I guess that can kind of blend into like a little bit of a forceful, like what is the goal? It's like, there's one thing of waking someone up to a truth, but then there's the other idea of like just trying to like force them to see it your way. And if they don't, pile up on them, abuse them or ban them kind of thing.
Yeah, I did the same thing, so I shouldn't criticize. I don't want to sound like I'm on my high horse over here. I'm really not, because I did the exact same thing. You get caught up in it, don't you?
Yeah, people do. Yeah, and there's kind of a culture for it as well. There's a whole kind of style to it. But like I said, when I was on it, it was kind of 50-50, and we were always kind of battling for, like there'd be a few of us mods that were like talking to people peacefully and just, sharing information or maybe some debating. And then one of those like admins would come in and just wreck the whole, they would just start screaming and yelling and banning people. And they would come in and just like a tornado, they would ban all the new people we were talking to. And then after the admin would leave, we would then go and unban those people and bring them back and then continue the convo. So yeah, it's all about kind of the agendas of it. And if you're being really nasty to people, it's almost like you're pushing them away from it. Because if they're not just going to concede, like they have to go through their own journey of this. So you can't really like force them. And then if they don't just instantly concede and then you kind of berate them or belittle them in some way that would actually push them away, or it could do that at least. Dude, on 24/7, like the one that's more aggressive and all that stuff. Dude, we probably pushed away thousands of interested people. And I don't mean I don't feel like I did that really. I was always trying to stop that from happening. But oh my gosh, the number of new people that came in and just got banned and mistreated, and it was wild. And I was always kind of fighting against that and kind of rebelling against that kind of behavior. And because there were those of us that wanted to actually have it be something positive. And dude, so many casualties.
I just got banned from there now by DJ. Yeah, for posting a picture of curvature at the plane window, and next to it was a picture of the plane when I was on the ground, so you could see it's not a curved window.
Oh boy, I've got one that shows it's a curved window. I think in my folder, or that's got curves at the edges.
I'm going to bed. I just posted something in the chat though, and you guys can have a chat about that. All right, take it easy, everyone.
Before you go, if you want to see in the chat, I just posted that one I have. See how it does look slightly curved at the edges, but it's not really the same as like the whole thing being curved, but it does show that little bit of warping effect. But yeah, I'll check out. You said you posted something. I'll scroll up, see if I can find it.
Man, where'd you post yours?
The live stream text.
Live stream text. All right, I'll post mine there too. Then hang on.
Yeah, I'll check out.
That's right at the very, very edges. Your picture. But yeah. Anyway, I'll leave this with you. If you get an answer, a proper answer, let me know. Or I can scroll back through this, I guess. Anyway, take it easy, everyone.
Distances and whether they are on a sphere or a plane.
Yeah, that triangle can't work on a flat Earth. Anyway, I'll leave it with you. Take it easy, guys.
All right. No, pick it up next time. Yep. Have a good night. But Andy, with the whole like sun question, to me, I just think of it as it's like thickening the plot, and I actually give some props to Duffy. I think who knows what his agenda was and his motivations. And he seems like a very shady character, and I'm not, supporting him really at all. But nonetheless, he did do the trip and pay for those guys to go, for better or for worse, or, and I just feel like it thickened the plot, because we're born into this world. We're obviously told about the globe and the claimed history, but we're also living in this weird hijacked world, in my viewpoint. You got World War I and World War II and all of the governments and the whole way the system's set up now is just wild and the whole thing. So whatever's going on, and then you got the history and the education and the whole system. So we're just born into it. I was born in 1981, so here I am, just popped into the world, and obviously was raised in a similar way to a lot of us in the modern era. So now, if the Earth is a sphere, like hypothetically, then okay, it just is a sphere. But obviously, from the perspective that it's not, it's like Houston, we have a problem, and meaning it's not a sphere, and so it's like we have to like pick up the pieces, put the pieces together, and obviously, like when you start looking into the Earth and whether it has curvature, motion, all these factors, and then obviously we know the ancients thought had a flat Earth, essentially a planar stationary Earth, and so on. And we experience the Earth as flat and stationary and all those factors. No one's really been to space to confirm that. At least no like regular people, just like government agent, astronaut people, etc. And all that. So then we're in the situation where it's like, okay, then what is the Earth? Is it what the ancients thought it was? Let's look into that. Is there curvature? Oh, we see too far. Is there motion? Interferometry doesn't pick it up. You get into all these factors, and it's like, okay, the Earth, is the Earth flat? And stationary, like the ancients and so on. Then we're given the Gleason's map, the AE Gleason's, as it's like served on a platter, no pun intended. It's like it looks like a dinner plate. So it's like we were kind of all that was in the literature, that was in the Robotham, that was in all that, and a lot of the videos that people made back in 2015, 16 was that map and that concept, that model. So then everyone was kind of like sold that basically, you know, or given that as like the replacement. Like, oh, it's not the globe. Well, it's this. Here it is, you know? And like I always joke about, you know, make a t-shirt and a coffee mug and hang it on your wall. Now, if it is that layout, then okay, cool. You know, I guess the truth is just right there. But then there's the question, if that's not the correct layout, then that's why I was saying it's like it thickens the plot. It's like, okay, well then what really is the Earth then, you know? And doesn't seem like very many have gone back to the globe after the TFE thing. Now I know some people think it's fake or whatever, but even if those people thought the trip was real, I doubt that all those people think it's fake. I doubt they would all go back to the globe. You know, not maybe they would have to give up the Gleason's map or figure out how it's working if they want to keep the Gleasons or whatever. But yeah, so I just want to say that it's like thickening the plot, and it just brings more, just as we uncover more things. And I do think that TFE trip, it gave, you know, more accessible contact to people that have taken that trip. Now I know some people think it's fake, but you know, so it just kind of brings more to the table. And if there was some huge exodus of people going back to the globe, that would be one thing, but it doesn't seem to be the case, you know. So it's kind of like, it's almost like it's in limbo right now, because I think the AE map is probably questioned more now than maybe it was before, partly because of TFE and maybe just other factors too. Even though I think the AE map always had issues, but it obviously was like more of a central discussion point, whereas now there's more of a nuance, you know, a more varied kind of discussion. But yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to comment on the often, when people often say, well, the AE map is the globe map, which is true, because you have, the globe map is just a projection of the celestial sphere and how you see the sky. Now, is that what people are? You can't debunk that. That's just observation. So I mean, what are people really going to work on?
What do you mean by that? I know what you mean about projecting the sphere down onto a flat plane, like from the north, and then the south gets like distorted. Because obviously the south is quite different when it's distorted, like, you know, spread out like that in the south. Like it doesn't match. Like the longitude lines keep expanding outwards, whereas on the globe they all converge down to the South Pole. But I know what you mean about it, how it's related to the globe in terms of like the projection.
But in my assessment, that's all the globe is just a projection of how. That's all it is. Like I say it often. Like if you take away like the map or the globe map or whatever map of the world, the globe doesn't have anything. So all they have is that projection. That's their globe. So what is there to argue or falsify or work against?
Yeah, but with the sky, like with the two rotations and the two poles and then the sun path and all that, like you can put that on a globe because of the celestial sphere nature of the globe deal. And it, you know, but if you flatten that out with an AE and you make the south like expand it out, it becomes problematic because you don't have a south pole. So it's not really the same in that way. Like, do you agree or disagree with that?
South pole. What was the question?
Well, like if you and I were at the equator and we looked at the South Pole, we just pointed to it and we just started going there. We just walking, we take a boat, we do whatever, and we get all the way there and we're there. We're just at the South Pole. That doesn't, like, there's no place on an AE map for a South Pole.
Yeah, the tough part, like I guess like you had touched on it first. The tough part is that nobody's ever done any of that stuff. Like nobody's going to the South Pole, nobody's going to the North Pole. We just derive it from, close enough. And we get this relationship that's close enough, and then we adjust it, and we say, well, it didn't go, decline 15 degrees, so we must have went a shorter distance. But nobody's actually gone to those places. Nobody, not the globe, not the globe guys, not the flat guys. Nobody.
What about the Amundsen-Scott station? I mean, there's apparently people there year round, and there's trips you can take there.
Yeah, but they're not. What I mean is they're not under. They're not. Nobody's going. Nobody's 90 degrees at a zenith of a rotating pole star that I'm aware of.
Well, I do hear you in the fact that like you'd have to be there in the wintertime when it's like bitterly cold and like unlivable. Although they do claim that people live at Amundsen-Scott station year round, and it's at 90. So I mean, apparently there are people there, like right now, and in the last few months and they would be right under Sigma Octantis.
That might be. Yeah, maybe that's true. But I haven't seen that. I haven't seen it. That'd be the case. But like the same thing where I haven't seen the TFE. If that's the case, right? Like I don't say that it's fake. If that's true, then it's I hadn't seen it until it happened.
Yeah. Apparently they have trips like where you can ski the last degree. So they take you to 89 and then you ski, I guess like cross country skiing, 69 miles.
70-mile ski trip. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I can't make it down the mountain even a little bit.
They call it ski the last degree. Now maybe they pick you up if you get tired and take you the rest of the way. I don't know, but they have trips. And then they claim there's cruises that go to the North Pole too. Now that would be in their summer though, so you're not going to see Polaris. I guess it's going to be the 24-hour sun. But I mean, if those cruises, I don't know anyone like personally that has taken those, but there's a lot of videos of them and people there. And I don't know that I've seen. I haven't really researched it, but like, are there any like 24-hour sun videos of someone on one of those North Pole cruises that would show the sun at the elevation angle of 23.4 degrees when it's right at the solstice, where it stays at 23.4 the whole time and circles you, so it doesn't like rise up and down? Like when they were at Union Glacier, since they were at 80 degrees, the sun went up to like 33 degrees elevation when it was in the north, and then it went down to like 13 degrees when it was in the south, and then back up to 33, 34, I think, when they were there. So it like went up and down. But if you're at 90, it like stays, especially if you're near the solstice, it would stay at 23.4. And then it like slowly, like it goes, as the season goes on, it'll be at 23.4 at the solstice, but then it'll go 23, 22, 21, 20, every day it starts. And then eventually, you get that one sunset, because it's just going around, like at some point, like it's right on the horizon circling you. And then at some point, boom, it disappears. So Yeah, but they claim, I mean, if people take those North Pole cruises and you could verify with the elevation angle of the sun and prove that you are under Polaris, you just can't see Polaris because it's 24-hour sun. So conceivably, if someone paid to take that trip, they could confirm it more. So I mean, as far as I mean, they claim people have been to both poles. I think they say like 1,000 people a year or something go to the North Pole, and the South Pole, I think it's even more than that. Whatever the numbers they claim, that are at the Amundsen base station.
I always found that ski the last degree itinerary very strange. It's pretty interesting itinerary.
Is it? Well, apparently ALE has a trip, or they have a camp at the 90 degrees south, the Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. Like they apparently have a camp there. It's like smaller than Union Glacier. Like you can see it on their website. There's only like 6 or 8 like tents, but they're like nicer. Instead of just like, you saw the one Whitsitt and Jaron, those guys stayed in, was like just a small little tent, but the ones they have there, they're like more luxurious. I think those trips are like $90,000 to go to the, I think it's called like Three Rivers Camp or Three Glaciers, something with a 3. I have to go double check on their website, but they're like nicer. They're more like a little cabin where you get your own, like an actual bed, and you get like a little desk and your own bathroom and stuff, I think. But yeah, they're like $90,000. But yeah, I mean, ALE claims they have a camp right at 90 South. So
Yeah, $85,000. Yeah, day 5 through 9 you ski to the South Pole. Day 10 through 11 you arrive at the South Pole, and day 11 you return to Union Glacier. It's crazy. How do you get back to Union Glacier in a day? Do they helicopter you out of there?
I think they fly like a short flight, like a smaller airplane. Didn't Whitsitt say when he was at Union Glacier that there was a woman they met? I think, you know, when they're all like smoking cigarettes in that body cam footage, you see the woman there. I think she's the one Whitsitt was talking about, where she was like going from Union Glacier to the 90 South and then coming back to Union Glacier or something. So he like talked to her, and you know that I guess she was on her way there.
Only on a globe can you ski downhill both directions. That's proof.
Ski downhill there and ski downhill back. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I enjoyed downhill way more than cross country. That sucked.
Get a little Alice and Bob going on that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I've come to like a piece that I'll never know the world map. Like, how would I know that? How would I even confirm it? I'd have to, so much belief would have to go in at a certain point. So it's not something like, that's not to say that I'm not going to look when somebody puts forward like some sort of cool idea, but I'm okay with knowing that I'm never going to know what the whole world is.
Yeah, no, I do hear you on that. It is I mean, you think you'll never know though, or you just think it's such an unsurmountable task for one lifetime, and then especially with the way the world's set up today, with all the restrictions and passports and laws and governments.
Yeah, I'm not saying in a grand way. I'm saying I'm going to be dead soon. I'm not going to figure it out. I'm not the one.
Well, you got a few more decades, right?
Yeah, it would take more than my lifetime, yeah, for sure. Even if I started from day one, and we need a lot of people to get on board. It's just too much of a task. Yeah, it's not that I'm not saying it can't be figured out. I don't take that position. I just know that I'm not going to figure it out.
Well, I do understand. Yeah, I hear where you're coming from. It is quite a thing to figure out, a task.
Yeah, if somebody says that like me, you know, for me to say the Earth is a globe or the Earth is flat, I need to know the entire Earth. Then you can't know either one. So you're never gonna know that.
Yeah, but if you had like a team and the finances to do it, do you think you could travel around and map the Earth yourself, and then map the sky and the Earth? If you had like, you know, 6 months or a year with a whole team and enough finances to do it, like, do you think that's what?
If I had like an unimaginable amount of money, like I could just 200 guys fly around in helicopters with LiDAR scanners. All right, you guys go for 6 months, and then another guys will go out with the infrared cameras looking at the sky for another 6 months. Yeah, sure, but that's not going to happen.
We need a Captain Nemo in the ocean. That's like when I was young, and it was Jacques Cousteau. He said only 10% of the ocean has been explored, and then it went up to 15, and now it's dropped back down to, and I think it's 5, back down even to 5% now. Last I heard.
Yeah, and even if I did that for like the year, who's to say that the next year is going to every single thing in the sky, every single thing that I scan is going to be the same the next year? I have to do it. You have to do it every year. Who's to say that one day, like just to say on on February 8th, I don't know, one of the stars wiggles, and I didn't only on February 8th of the 3rd year. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. It'd be hard to like even if you did that, to like have every factor. Well, like, to what degree do you think the militaries have that? You know, like let's say the U.S. military. You know, I mean, they're running the GPS system, satellite systems, all of it. You know, so they must have quite a bit figured out, don't you think? Or they've got to have.
Yeah, I believe that I believe that somebody has. I can't do it. Like we can do it as a society. Like with the situation I just put out there with scanners riding around in helicopters, they do it every day, and they have you've probably heard the argument about what are these satellites? Well, they just got these little receivers hooked to every single airplane ever, and they're just trilaterating constantly to get positioning. I don't have that. They're doing it
all day, every day. And I think they have a pretty good idea. But I also know, like, the idea is that do the militaries have the correct map, and then are the militaries of the world just being honest with their enemies, the other militaries, saying, hey, this is exactly the sneaky path you need to take to come get me. I don't think so. I don't think they're telling everybody, I mean, the truth. It doesn't make any sense to tell the truth in any paradigm. If I take that they're working together or not, why would they tell you? For me to get on a plane and go vacation somewhere, I need them to tell me where I'm going. You think they want to remove that power from themselves, like where I'm fully reliant on paying all these, a ticket to go on vacation, and where I don't need them anymore, and I don't have to pay their fees? No way. There's no reason they should tell the truth. There's no reason that they should tell the truth, the military or otherwise.
Yeah, well, you're saying it's like compartmentalized, basically from the people and from a lot. Yeah, it's like a compartmentalized kind of need to know. It's almost like a secret society in a way. The government's, I mean, leaving out, whether there are actual secret societies linked to them. I'm just saying it's like, it's definitely not just like any public person can access what they have.
Why should I have access to what they earned anyway? Like, why should I have the right to what they gained? And I just said I would need a year of helicopter pilots with scanners and technology. Why should they give it to me? There's no reason that it should be known to us. Just like some sort of ethical reasoning, maybe. But
well, I mean, I could give an argument to say that, I mean, truth should be. Well, I mean, if they want to be just evil and keep it from people, but I mean, if you knew like the truth about what the Earth was, like, do you feel like that? Would you think that about yourself? Like, oh, well, why do I have to tell people? Or would you feel like, oh, we need to be honest and let people know where they live?
Like going back, like I was like something to compare to. Go back to like the 24/7, I don't know, personality, right? Like currently, like how they are. You're not going to believe me anyway. Why should I convince you? Go do your own research, and then if that's what you want to believe, then believe it. Because at this point, I can give it to you all day long, and you'll just argue against me. So it's like, so go figure it out yourself, and then whatever you're happy with, you're happy with. So I just take that same attitude, right? And it's like, okay, well, you should know the truth. Like I know what the Earth is. I know it's not a globe. And I'm going to tell you, but guess what? You're never, that person, whoever this imaginary person is, they're never going to concede. They're never going to believe. They're never going to do their own research. So go get your own, so to these guys, I say, hey, tell me the truth. And then they go tell me the truth. I'm not going to believe them anyway, no matter what they tell me. I'm going to say, I got to prove it. I'm going to say, great. And then we're going to go through this whole song and dance where it's just going to end up, I have to prove it to myself anyway. What's the point of them telling me the quote unquote truth?
Dude, I know. I think about that when people are like, where's the map? Where's the map? And I think what's funny, if somebody had the correct planar Earth map, the correct one. Let's say they got it right from the military or they made it themselves. They have the correct one. If you then presented that to somebody, in these discussions, like, here it is. Like you said, they would have no way to verify it. They wouldn't even know if it's true or not. They would probably just instantly say it's wrong or laugh at it. Some folks would just mock, ridicule. Meanwhile, they're mocking and ridiculing the real map. Like, they asked for it, you gave them the real one, but they have to figure that out. Like, they would have to go check that map to even make sure it's right. So it's funny when they're like, where's the map? It's like, well, even if I give you the right one, what does that really do? Like, you would have to go check it. You're not, unless you're just going to blindly believe me. But so yeah, I think about that.
I started off by like, which one, like way earlier in the conference, like, what am I going to believe? I'm going to have to just believe at some point, as far as the world map, like, which one do I believe the most?
But I mean, I do think there's something potentially problematic if there's like secret societies that are holding things from people. I mean, I guess somebody could see it as like, hey, well, I just, keep our secrets or get mine for me and everyone else can just, but I just think there's like karmic implications though, if you're like hiding information, from people. But I mean, it's a fine line though. I mean, you can have private information. Like, you don't have to tell everyone everything about your personal life or something like that. Like, there's obviously privacy, but I mean, there's no way I would feel karmically right about, like, if I hypothetically, if I was like in some position of some secret society that was hiding the real world map from the people, like, that doesn't seem a valid thing to do. Like, I think that would be.
There should be some, these secret societies should have some sort of like litmus test where we checked it off. Where do we go now? You've seen through our thinking and through our discussions that we are worthy. Where do we go now? Because why I'm saying that is because that information about giving it away freely, I give it away freely to people, and they want to flip my. Sorry, I got a call. They want to, like, punch me in my face. So I mean, those people need to be protected from the quote unquote truth. They can't handle the truth. But there's some people who can handle it. So where do we go? Where do the people who can handle it? Where do we go?
Yeah, well, it seems like maybe the secret society dudes might think that way. They might think like, oh, people won't be able to handle the truth if we give it to them. I mean, I'm just speculating about what their rationalizations might be. But I do think there's a problem with like withholding information if it's of a nature that like impacts other people. I mean, like I said, you can have your own private thing to yourself, but yeah, something about like some of these. I mean, I think we all would agree that like if they're hiding from the people what the real Earth is, I mean, wouldn't you agree that that's not cool that they're doing that? Like, if they were to be in,
I again take the position that it's not hidden. It's right in front of us. Like, Flat Earth 101. Who's hiding the Flat Earth from you? Nobody. And people still don't want to see it.
You don't think they're hiding the real map?
Oh yeah, probably. You know, I know I can't even think of a single reason why they wouldn't. It doesn't make any sense to doesn't make any. I can't think of any reason why they wouldn't hide it. They got all the crazy. I just ran into a guy out front of this, getting a coffee out front of this coffee place, and he's some homeless like meth head or something. I don't know. And he's crying, and he's telling me probably a fake screenshot of negative $1,400 some odd dollars, and telling me can I give him $71 to get a motel across the street? Blah blah blah. These people, you think this person deserves the real map of how to get into my house? I don't think so, man. I'm not telling them.
The reason people think there's a globe is because there's more evidence for the globe. But just to carry on off this topic, I think this is interesting because I love Manly P. Hall's take on this, which is that, like, if you take a person that's just, he doesn't deserve this information because he hasn't earned it, that could be very irresponsible to give that sort of level of power to that person, I would say.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here to take over because I got to go in somewhere. So, what do you think of that, Gio?
Wait, say it again, Andy. I might have to step away in a minute too, but
Yeah, I was just saying, I like Manly P. Hall's take in his book called Magic. He's talking about the wizards, basically, which sounds a bit mental, but yeah, you got to earn sort of this, you've got to earn knowledge, you've got to earn responsibility. Like, it reminds me of Spider-Man, sorry, I'm a product of Hollywood, but with great power comes great responsibility and all that. You can't just give this knowledge to somebody who's going to treat it in some flippant way. They could end up killing themselves and taking a lot of people out with them. Do you see that?
Yeah. No, I hear you. I guess it just comes to the question of, like, it gets into this category of gatekeeping in a way, like I said before. I mean, if somebody has some private information about their own life, yeah, that they're not obligated to, like, share that with anyone. I mean, or if somebody invents something, they may not be obligated. But what if they invented, like, free energy? Like, if you discovered or invented free energy, would you feel like you have to give it to the people, or would you hold it for yourself? It gets into the whole, like, moral and karmic, implications of knowledge and information. It's a pretty interesting topic, actually, to consider, because, like, is there certain information, like, dude, if I discovered free energy, I don't know what I would do, but I mean, it don't seem like I'd feel right to just, like, keep it with just me and a few friends. It seems like humanity could benefit from that. Or if you discovered some, so it's like if it helps a lot of people.
But wait, this reminds me of the sort of communistic type of arguments that I've wanted to engage in, but I haven't, because I think I need to think it through a little bit more. Because I've always thought deep within me as a communist, you know what I mean? Like maybe I bought into some propaganda, but I always think you better watch me, because deep inside me there's a communist dying, like, just waiting to infiltrate you, call everybody comrade. But it is interesting, because when you peel that onion back, what it really comes down to is a question of motivation, right? That's what it really boils down to. Sorry, this game's a bit loud, so I don't want it to come over the mic.
No, you're good. I mean, no, these are all interesting facets. That's why I mentioned the gatekeeping thing, because if somebody has some information or knowledge, but where's the fine line between, like, sort of gatekeeping information? I'm just using that phrase in the way of, purposefully withholding information that, that would either help others, or maybe that should be universal in some way. Like, okay.
Remember the movie WALL-E or something, where they're all big fat people cruising around on them hover chairs? Remember that? You seen that? That's what I'm talking about, Gio. Is that where free energy is going to lead us?
Or are you saying that if you have some knowledge or technology, that, like, sharing it with humanity would help humanity, but if you release it in a way that's responsible, that it could actually cause, like, a negative response because people can't handle
Absolutely.
it? Yeah, so I wonder sometimes, like, these kind of controllers, like, is that how they think? Like, do they sit there and think, well, if we told everybody all this truth, it would cause mayhem, therefore we're doing the right thing by holding it from them? I mean, I speculate sometimes about what their mindset might be, or how they rationalize, because a lot of us feel like they're lying to us, they're hiding all this stuff, but then I just wonder how they kind of see it.
Well, when you were speaking about it earlier, the first thing I thought is, as an individual, you can't do anything against these fellowships, against these societies. You cannot do anything. As far as my research goes, they've murdered so many people to get to this place. You think they're not going to murder you? An individual can't do anything. You need a community. You need a strong community, and of course, they will infiltrate that community. But because that's part of their MO, that's what they do. But yeah, the amount of people they've murdered through poisoning, in particular, poisoning is one of their favorite things that they do. So yeah, as an individual, no, you ain't doing jack shit. That's why I always say, like, I'm a bit selfish when it comes to this stuff, because I understand what I'm up against.
Well, the people that have come forth prior, trying to share practical, applicable knowledge, you've seen what's occurred to them.
Hey, say what? I've got you a bit low. I think I've turned you down a bit. I turn everybody down. Don't be offended by that. What did you say?
How dare you?
I just turned everybody down.
Asshole. No, I was just saying what's happened, to previous things that's been demonstrated. What I guess some people would call free energy, over unity, aqueous fuel, different things. The ones that I could tell that have survived, it's always amended, finalized, because there's always the questions, when is this going to be available to the public? And the same response as well. There's no telling, because it's a matter of national security. From the nitinol machines to Gunnerman patents.
Well, patents don't make a thing. Just
no,
so
but the
you
demonstration that he put on did in LA. Went ahead and they tested the exhaust, because it's California emissions. Anyway, yeah, it was full demonstration, but it was still followed with the same response. Don't know. It's a matter of national security. Rudolph Gunnerman. Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. I think I can find it. He was already working in the petroleum industry. He was helping remove the sulfates from the fuel, gasoline, petrol, diesel as well, and kerosene. But no, patents don't mean shit.
Yeah, they've got patent. There's plenty of patents for time machines, as I always like to remind people.
It tells me there's a lot more practical applicable that's been rediscovered. That no, there's no patent's been filed on it if they're wanting to utilize it. But he was already working for the industry, the Gunnerman fella. But others that have brought forth different alternative, I guess you would say, because there's a lot of different ways to heat water, which is how our big power plants operate in a day.